Before you say anything about what you told your wife, we are live now, so make sure it's like
Yeah.
not about your girlfriend that just dropped you off.
No, I was telling her that. Go ahead.
Let me just do the introduction. Hello, everyone tuning in. We are live on How Copy, coming from the belly of the beast, the Nom.
Fayetteville.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep that
Yeah.
like off live feed, but I mean, I slipped up something. Remember, I was like, maybe we shouldn't say we're in Fayetteville because what if we piss somebody off and then we gotta watch our
Go
backs?
for them, dude. Like, fuck around and find out, dude. Seriously, like, I don't give a fuck, bro.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah.
yeah. So sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying. I told my wife earlier. I was like, you gotta let. I was like, tune in. I was like, heck, put everything you got and get some views and stuff like that. Just messing around. I was like, let Reed watch it, and I started thinking. I was like,
I cuss too much.
yeah. I was gonna tell Buddy if he could watch it, we'd do $1 for every time he says the F word. And
Oh,
you gotta
man.
donate it to somebody, and I started
$100.
thinking. I was like, God, that's
don't
gonna
do
be
that.
a lot of money.
I blame.
Or if
the,
I say like.
I blame the infantry for that.
So we were just before we went on live, we were talking about just big boy rules and like SOCOM and stuff. And there was if y'all, especially the hunters, might remember this. There was a hunter that found 2 bodies out at MacArthur Lake. Now I got into a podcast
In the morning.
Yeah, in the morning. So let me tell you.
Could you imagine
Check
that?
this out,
You're
man.
walking through the woods at 5 a.m. It's dark.
to
and-
go hunting and
Next to a
trip over
truck.
dead
One of
shit.
them's rolled up in a carpet. This is like mafia style shit, dude. So check this out. Yeah.
Really, I had no idea about
That was
can't
what,
believe-
2020? Yeah,
About 2 years ago.
2020.
Because I remember I said if that happened to me, I'd probably be done hunting.
Yeah,
I
I
ain't
couldn't
never
imagine. That's my biggest fear now. Because, like, no, someone who I knew said, there's a lot of problems at Bragg that are in the training areas. A lot of problems that are no longer problems, if you get my drift. But
Yeah.
anyways, so these 2 guys were, the story behind was, one was a highly decorated Delta Force operator who had killed a team member who was also his best friend a few years before that.
Where? In theater or here?
No, here. Like,
Oh, wow.
and they think this is where it gets crazy. All right, because I listened to his podcast on this, and this guy that came on this podcast, he's world famous for. He's gotten guys dismissed from death row. All right? That's how good he is at investigation. Okay, this guy has federally had guys who were on death row had their charges dropped because he found evidence. He dig deep. Well, this guy's basically stated that this guy was pretty much a loose cannon. So when he killed his buddy, he claimed self-defense, and he claimed the guy had a screwdriver. It was his best friend. They'd been on a family vacation, and the wives even got on this podcast and were like, he was acting really strange, the guy that killed him, and he was saying stuff that like, oh, he's threatening me. He's like, if I'm a Delta guy, why would I be worried about another man? He's like, I'm pretty sure, I can handle my business. Well, the guy was found on the ground, triple tapped, so he claims self-defense, but he shot him 3 times. So there was rounds in the concrete. Anyhow, a couple years later, this guy is found dead, rolled up in a carpet, shot 3 times in the back, once in the head, twice in the, Anyhow, in the passenger side, he was found in the bed of a truck. On the passenger side, there was a warrant officer who was not a Special Forces soldier, but was a warrant of like Special Forces support. Now, the connection between these 2 guys is they were both members of this parachuting club in Rayford.
Yeah.
Right? The president of the parachuting club had just gotten rolled up a few months ago for federal charges because he was running drugs through the cartel.
Through the
Fentanyl.
cartel or for the cartel?
For the cartel.
Gotcha.
Fentanyl and meth. Now,
Go big.
the
Yeah.
Special Forces guy, they think he killed his friend because maybe the guy was telling him, hey, you need to straighten the fuck up, dude, and not be involved in this shit. Now, the other guy, the warrant officer who was dead, was found, he had a fake LLC. So they think he was like the money laundering guy. So it's just crazy, man, how but we're talking about like, the big boy rules. Dude, 7th Group just got busted for coke.
Yeah.
Like, these guys, they're giving big boy rules, but they're also protecting
Well,
them.
it's
That's-
also a younger generation now.
This guy was talking about in the podcast, he's like, this guy got arrested in Cumberland County, and the next day he was out. You got to have some pull.
Well, let me
you
just
know.
say this real quick
Yeah.
because those guys sound like some pretty serious dudes. And
Yeah.
if anything that you said is true, I just want to say that I ain't got nothing to do with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, neither
that's
do
what
I.
I'm saying. Yeah.
This is just
I can't
this is
edit
all
this shit
hearsay.
out.
Yeah.
This is Brennan
This
talking.
is Brennan.
Not me.
I'm listening. So if you're doing all that, hey, my name's Bennett. I don't care what you do. I ain't in
No,
it.
I don't care. It's just crazy. No, this podcast is out there, man. Like, this isn't me. This is
I
just
know,
me
I know.
recycling information.
I'm just saying,
from that podcast.
I don't have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that it's.
They sound pretty serious.
Yeah.
So, what's the moral of the story? Don't fucking get involved with the cartel. Period.
I guess.
Or mind your own
Yes.
damn business.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
yeah.
that's the easiest way to go through life
Yeah.
is just
But-
mind your own business.
That hunter, man. If you're out there, dude, he's got to be someone on the Fort Bragg
That
Club,
would
'cause-
cycle. He was.
Yeah.
I remember he posted about it, and I was joking about it at first, but then I, read the comments and I saw it on the news, and I was like, if that happened to me, I'd never walk through the woods in the dark
Yeah,
again
dude,
voluntarily.
That's all I think
Oh,
about.
That would scare the
Yeah,
shit
you
out
would.
of me.
So
Fucking dead bodies.
It's just a dead
Even though
person.
they're dead. That's kind of like
my buddy William
That's
Gillis
kinda like a
finds one
baby.
like every 5 years.
if you saw
Everybody.
It's crazy.
if you're
man.
walking
Wanna
down
be
the
poor?
street
Yeah,
and you see a baby playing outside in the daytime, it's like, oh, cute little baby. But now walk through the woods at 5 o'clock in the morning and see a baby out
That's
there.
totally
that
different.
Would scare the shit out of you.
That's totally different. Like I could walk to my tree stand and be like, okay, there's a dead guy. We'll call the cops. As long as it's not
Yeah.
a good area.
Are you going hunting still? Like, can you get him out of my area? I'm trying to hunt.
Yeah,
Like,
I
can
know,
y'all be
yeah.
quiet?
I
you-
might drag them up the road
No,
a
I'm
little
good,
bit
thank
so they
you.
don't stink up my area.
Yeah.
But if it's a little baby
got
playing
some-
in the woods in the morning,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
like for real, I'm gone. I am gone.
I forgot where I heard that. They were well, it was probably a podcast because that's pretty much all I listen to. But they were talking about how some things are like in the daytime are normal, but switch the scenario and put them at night. It's more
man.
scary.
How many times, like literally, especially on Bragg, because it's not like going to your private lease where you have gates and
Yeah.
people can still get in, but Bragg's a free for all. I
Yeah.
mean, if
Yeah.
like if you want to drive out there right now and cut down a fire
You
break,
don't
you can
even
go.
have to go through. You don't even have to go through the checkpoints to access a lot of the hunting land. You
No,
just drive-
I think
yeah.
MacArthur, you can just drive straight up
Yeah,
Plank
yeah.
Road.
I can drive. I can take you literally from. I'd say NTA 7, Whale Lake or whatever that is out there.
I'm sorry. I was listening to you talk,
I
but I didn't hear the
apologize.
words because he was doing something.
Sorry, I'm trying to get on the
no,
live chat. Okay.
I was
Are
just
you?
saying,
Oh, you got it up. We're
Yeah,
live.
we're-
Okay,
we are
good.
live.
I was just saying that I can like accessing Bragg's easy. Like I can literally drive you from Harnett County to Camp McCall.
Yeah,
Crossing
yeah.
over
Yeah,
Blacktop. You know what I
well,
mean?
you know, sometimes I'll forget my ID card, and I'll have to drive. Like I'm going to the gate, or I don't have the what was it? I had. Well, maybe I shouldn't say this. I didn't want to go through the gate. I didn't have because I didn't have my ID card, or I had a pistol, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I just drive around and go hunting.
That's one thing I'd never have on me.
What
A
pistol?
pistol on base.
No, me neither. But you know,
can.
Yeah.
here's the thing. If
Can
I,
you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, you
only
can.
if you're going to. Let's just get this
The
clear. 'cause
range, and it has to be in a case, separate from bullets and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's got to be separated,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you've got
And
to
registered.
be going to McCall.
And it has to be registered.
And it has to be registered on Bragg, not
PMO.
McCall. The range.
Yeah,
at
the range right there. Yeah, headquarters.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
because they know that I am a concealed. I have a concealed permit, so
Right.
there's been a few times, mainly at the main when I go get my every year, because you know our weapons registration now expires
Oh, it does?
like every year or 2 years. Yeah,
Thanks, I didn't look at mine.
You know,
I
that,
did not know
you know
that.
that piece of paper. If they ever ask you, is your gun registered, and you got to show them that piece of paper with a stamp on it. I found out last year that mine had been expired for 2 years. I don't know
didn't
how
know
many
that.
people have looked at it since then.
I don't
but
gun hunt on Bragg, but what's crazy to me is like I had a guy 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3, I can't
Oh.
remember when it was, asked me if my bow was registered. And I
yeah,
was
well,
like,
you used to have to register your bow.
Oh, really?
I thought you only had to register crossbow. And
I
at
don't
the
know,
time, I
crossbow.
was like,
My
Crossbow.
first
Yeah,
bow,
yeah, you get
to register
my
a
first
crossbow.
bow is still on my registration, even though I don't own it no more because
Yeah.
I had to register.
I
don't
had the
know
guy
why.
like, I got like a pretty, like, I was like, look, man, you don't have to. I was like, I'll go because I'm right here. I'll go register. And I'm fine with that. I was like, but he was like, man, I need you to put your arrows in the toolbox of your truck and separate. I'm like, nah, not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Because you're going to
ain't
get in your
messing
car
my
and
stuff.
load your arrows up and do a drive-by crossbowing or bowing in your
Bowing, yeah.
So I
Like a
used to
bow.
I used to work out
Pretty
there
talented.
for
Yeah.
a short stint. I was a when it was all security, like private security, checking the IDs.
Yeah.
I used to work
Allied
out
or
there.
whoever it
No, it was Whack and Hut, and then
Whack
it
and
was
Hut,
yeah,
that's
and then it was WSI. It was
There was one before Whack and Hut though.
It was all the same company. They
It
changed
constantly
names
changes.
based on
Yeah.
who owned the company because technically a British company is not allowed to hold an American contract, American government contract. You got to be an American company. So what do? They get some. Hey, Jonathan, you want to be rich? Start a company. Call it this.
Yeah.
You'll be the guy on the.
You're
on the
going to
thing.
own 51% of it, but
You're,
we're going
you're
to
gonna
keep
be
a
the
non-dated
owner,
bill of sale.
But
with
you
us.
see this little contract means that you're going to sign. It means you got no say in what goes on, and we're going to do it. So that's what that was. So it became WSI. But anyway, my point to that was everybody knows the rules. You're told the rules, but everybody interprets them differently depending on how they feel that day.
Yeah, but that's
I used to
black and white.
I know, but I used to
Yeah.
get called to I was a lieutenant, and I used to get called to the gate because there's a guy who's in the National Guard, but he's got a military ID and he's trying to access the gate. I'm like, okay, he's got a CAT card. He's good to go. Well, he's in the National. How do you know he's in the National Guard? Well, I know this guy. What had happened was that guy had pissed him off.
Yeah, he didn't want
You
to
know,
let him in,
and he
being a
just
punk.
didn't want to let him on, right?
Yeah.
So I'm standing there, and the guy, and I remember because he had a dope motorcycle, it's a Sucker Punch bike. I don't know if you know, it's real chopped out, had a stick shift on it, and so I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, and he smarts off to me, and I'm basically trying to help him out. So I said, okay,
Yeah, you're on his side.
I said, I was on your side. Now we've got SOP and we've got exceptions to SOP. And right now you fall in the SOP category. So I'm going to need you to pull your bike over there. We're going to call the MPs and let them handle it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the guy's name, but I told him the situation. He goes, yeah, I'll be out there about an hour.
Yeah.
He sat there he couldn't leave.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people thought, okay, you're a security guard.
He
You're
can't
a
turn
rent-a-cop.
around and go?
No, I wouldn't let them.
you can't leave.
We were allowed to
Oh, really?
detain. The security guards out there were allowed to detain you, but they couldn't arrest you. I couldn't put you under
You can't
arrest.
search.
Yeah, we could
Without a
search.
warrant.
Yeah, y'all can search.
No, if we have probable cause. We had a search lane.
Oh, okay. Well,
Once you pull into that lane, you're subject to search. Period.
oh, because it's a federal installation.
Yeah, it's federal
yeah,
installation.
I was
so
about to say, this is like putting your POV card
Yeah.
in when you're deer hunting. Your vehicle's no longer yours
Right.
while on installation
Yeah,
deer
yeah,
hunting.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just- I mean, that's
true.
what that
So-
card means.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of people out there that they didn't know that we could detain them, so they would act like you're a rent-a-cop, like you were like a skateboarder, like a punk skateboarder, talking to shit to the security guard.
Yeah, at the mall.
That only happened like less than 1% of the time. But anyway, to that, they don't know the rules. You know, they just think that everything's got to be
Yeah.
a certain way. So you deal with that because you're dealing with the lowest bidder. You know, the people that have that job are the people that are willing to work. And I'm not saying it's a bad job. Don't get me wrong, but you know,
Shit, for a retired guy on a
companies
government
operate on the
retirement,
cheapest.
It's cake.
Yeah. But you
Yeah.
know, it's kind of
I
like
thought about it.
kind of like minimum wage. If you work for minimum wage, the minimum wage is pretty much your boss telling you up front to your face that if he could pay you less, he would.
He would, but he
You
can't.
are so insignificant to this operation. Any swinging dick can do it.
But-
That
So-
is very true.
and so when
That's
you
the
sign
bad
up to work for
part.
minimum wage, you really can't bitch, or you know, because that's basically what it is. You
Oh, you're at
know.
the bottom of the pole.
Yeah.
It's just
Did you
always
hear about
the-
UPS?
Oh,
I heard
yeah.
they're going on strike or
No, they
they're-
went
they
on
did,
strike
and
and
they
they won. The average salary now for a UPS worker, full-time worker, is $55 an hour. Full-time, that's over $100,000 a year.
You know, and they don't.
Delivery
And that,
driver.
don't get me wrong, that's a fair wage. And I think that's what the minimum wage
Dude,
should
if you
be.
see, if you see them boys granted, okay, they don't leave the hub over there until 9.
Mm-hmm.
But how many nights do you ride down the road and see them at 11?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Still
Or
working.
Freaking
Yeah,
2 in the
yeah,
morning
yeah.
during the
Yeah,
holidays.
yeah, they hustle, man, and
it's-
that I wouldn't want to do that crap.
I actually would. I wanted.
a lot of
I
friends that do
wanted
it.
to be a UPS driver because when I was in Iraq, I spent a lot of time watching TV, especially my last year and a half because I couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I watched The King of Queens, that,
Oh,
and you know
yeah.
he was and he had a pretty cool life. He
Kevin
went to work.
James?
Yeah, Kevin
I
James.
did a show with him actually.
Did you?
As a background extra, yeah, up in Long Island. I'll
Oh,
tell you about
really?
that after this. So it's
What
fun.
show?
Kevin Can Wait.
Oh yeah, that's.
I'm in
okay.
Kevin Can Wait. Yeah, it was
Are
great.
you? I was
Really?
just
I'll
I'll tell you
watching
about
that
him
last
once
week.
you get
Did you
done.
say anything or did you just stare at people?
I'll tell you about it. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I just said
So-
I wanted to be. So I came back from Iraq and I had to get a job. I went to UPS. Said I want to drive a truck, and they said, "Well, you can start off on the loading dock
Loading
part
trucks,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Part time during the
From
I was like, fuck you.
From 1 a.m. to like 5
Yeah.
a.m. It was crazy.
Yeah.
My
They
buddy
make good
Brandon,
money.
some cousins of mine, a lot of friends of mine and acquaintances, they work for UPS. And growing up, Brandon always hunted with us and stuff. And the holidays, come Thanksgiving, it was hard for him to come hunt because
Yeah.
that's like the start of their rush.
It's
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'd quit.
I'd
and my
quit
buddy
too,
Raymond
yeah.
always used to call him. Every time he'd see him, like, "Hey, you piece of shit." And I'm like, why does he call him that all the time? And then one day it just clicked. It was
You
like,
piece of shit,
UPS.
UPS, yeah.
I was like, all right, that's how it goes.
Yeah. So in 2017, I was doing historical film work when I first got out of the army, and Kevin Can Wait. They had an episode where his chaplain, this is even better, Jim Brewer,
I remember this.
goes his daughter needs to get married like ASAP.
Yes.
Or her son's gonna get he's deported, right?
Uh-huh.
So
The English dude.
he has to go find his minister, and his minister is a Civil War reenactor, and he goes to the Civil War reenactment and tries to get him, but he won't break character because he's
I
like
remember
portraying
this
General
episode.
Jackson. So it was cool. We got to go. They filmed it in a Long Island studio. We got to go to the Long Island studio up in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome pay. It was a union SAG job, which was cool. But we're just a bunch of guys in the background. But I'm in there, and like it's just stupid. But they flew. Man, Kevin James and his wife, she's famous too. in that show. She's from King of Queens too. She's in that show as well.
No, they're not married in real life. You're
In
talking
the
about,
show.
in the show. You're talking about
what's her name? She's a real New York chick. Oh, God,
She's the one that fucking attacked the Scientologist. She was a Scientologist.
I actually used to have a thing for her when I was younger.
She something just happened recently. Like, did she buck Scientology?
Yeah. She came out and she
came out
exposed
was like, this is
it.
bull.
I'll tell you how crazy it is,
Damn,
man.
I can't believe I can't remember her name, man.
So
I wouldn't want to. She to me comes off as like that back alley Bronx girl.
Yeah,
she's
well,
very. You can tell she's very.
Piss off at the bar. She'll smack the.
Yeah.
You know.
So they told. I'll tell you between Jim Brewer, because these are big names. Jim Brewer, Kevin, whatever the hell,
Kevin
James,
James.
and then her. I forget her name, but they told us we got on set. They're like, don't go to them, don't talk to them. If they talk to you, cool, but don't even like fuck with them. This is how crazy it was.
They're the lords.
But Jim Brewer was cool, man, and this guy's a stoner. Like
Yeah.
my buddy Guy, who's the casting director, he had actual.
He's
full-on,
actually not a stoner, but
He's
go ahead.
super cool. No, he smokes. Trust me.
He don't
does.
smoke.
Yeah, he does.
Jim Brewer.
He's always said he don't on his like his.
He
podcast
don't.
He says he
stuff.
don't, but I'm not. I can't.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I'm not gonna.
His
I'm
face
not gonna
looks
tarnish
like
his
he's
name.
never not high.
But
His face looks like he's never not
Yeah, I know.
high.
Yeah.
It's funny but Kevin James, man, I'll tell you what. So we're all out there, and we're out there for like 8 hours, right? Mm-hmm. And just sitting around. They flew him in on a freaking helicopter, dude. He gets out, does his lines, and then he's gone. And then that girl too. Oh God, what is her name? Anyhow,
I think we gave up on that. It'll
yeah,
pop in
but
my head.
she
in
was
about
sitting
an
there,
hour.
man, and she seemed like a total like just asshole, dude. Like I didn't even want to go around her, but it was funny because we're all sitting there, and like I got to see like the Ninja Turtles set was still there from when they filmed the scenes in New York, and like the the dumpster truck, the garbage truck that was like their their tactical vehicle or whatever from the Ninja Turtles movie, and it was just there was a bar where they filmed.
So you had a thing for her?
When I was younger, I did.
And
like
you
when I
didn't
was in
try
high
to hit
school.
on her?
No, dude. I'm thinking I had a thing for her like back in the '90s.
Bro.
Yeah.
I was cruising down to, I was at Wilmington crossing the bridge to go, I was going fishing actually. And I pulled up the stoplight and look over and there's a freaking flat black Lambo and this chick driving it. And I just thought, probably, I'm looking like I'm going fishing and I'm in a fucking Ford truck and she's in a Lambo and she's hot, but she's probably not going to go for me at all. But you never know if you fucking try.
You're
Be
shot
some
out.
Hollywood, but Kevin James.
I could be driving a Lambo right now. I'm not. It didn't work, but you just never know. You
his
gotta take
net
that
worth
shot.
is something insane.
Oh, he's
'Cause
crazy,
It's
yeah.
like 80 million or something like that.
Yeah, I might be driving one
ridiculous.
tomorrow. I
Yeah.
bought me some Mega Millions on the way here.
Oh.
This
Dude,
may be my
somebody-
last night as a commoner.
Yeah.
Oh,
You ever? Look,
I tell you what,
so
man.
you know what I do?
I might be too.
I buy multiple draws at once. I get like $60, and I go ahead and buy like 3 months worth of the same number, and then I have it pop up on my phone when the numbers come out. And every once in a while, I catch myself thinking about what I'm gonna do when I win that money.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not telling anybody. Y'all, I will not come and say, "Hey, I won the lottery." But there will.
There's
be
gonna,
signs.
there's going to be a few people that know that I want it immediately.
Who's that?
A lot of my customers.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. yeah.
That's like there'll be signs.
Yeah.
there
You ever
will
seen
be.
that meme
Like
where it's
my
like,
house might look like Castle Grayskull, like an exact replica.
I will not be in Fayetteville any longer.
there's a meme where I think it's like Nicolas Cage from back in the day, but it's like, you will not know if I won the lottery with these signs, like him in a convertible and his face is full of powder and like there's a freaking supermodel next to him.
That was Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas, yeah. Oh, so back to hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
so-
on tangents.
There was an article today that came out, and this pertains.
Oh, yeah.
It was an actual study that was done for 10 years. I think it was the University of Chicago or something. But they have proven that the best time to hunt is actually 2 hours after sunrise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when
So
it's cold.
it's
it's
actually
cold.
been confirmed now through research. 10-year study. That's a pretty big.
Yeah.
That's a long time, man. Could you like? That's how these.
I
Studies,
wonder how much that
Yeah.
study cost the taxpayers when you could have just asked a couple of fucking bumpkins
Well,
from
it was
Appalachia.
legit. They were GPS tagging deer and stuff.
Yeah.
Like tracking them.
Well, here's the thing, man. I have every time when I do see deer in the morning, it's always like 9:30. Very rarely
Yeah.
do I see them before that.
I think
There's
And sunrise during the summertime or the wintertime is like 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So 2 hours after. So
which is another reason I'm always like, don't go get in a damn stand. at
I
4
just
o'clock
can't
in the
help
morning.
it.
Why?
Yeah.
Because by the time the deer are ready to move, you're like antsy.
yeah, that's true.
Okay, you know,
I
it's
just-
time to stretch and
It's a good
I like
point.
being out there. One of my biggest things about hunting, I told Buddy this earlier. For me, like being out there like early and watching the woods, like
when it comes alive.
that's what does it for me.
Yeah.
Just I always like being out there just to see that.
Jonathan's seen a lot of deer.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of
You've
good
seen
deer.
a lot,
So
yeah.
that calluses, I wouldn't say calluses because that sounds coarse, but that gives you a different perspective. Like you've seen a lot of deer, you've got a lot more time hunting. So rolling out at, is it not, what is it in the morning? Dawn?
3:30.
When you roll out and it's sunlight already, maybe it's 7:30. That comes with experience. When you're still new and you see a 10-point deer and you damn near fucking pass out and you're mounting an 8-pointer on your wall, you want to get in there at 3 o'clock in the morning because you just think if I sit still, but you're
sometimes
right.
shooting yourself in the foot. Though.
Yeah.
Like I said last
Yeah.
time, man, is when you go in it, what pink light or whatever the heck it's called, whatever you want to say, a little daylight where you can see.
Isn't that called dawn?
Gray light.
Gray light.
Dusk
light,
is at
whatever.
night. Dawn is in the
Dawn is-
morning.
Dawn
right?
is in the morning,
So,
yeah.
so when it's dawny, that's
When
what
it's
I'll
not
call it.
exactly
Yeah.
like what is
When
dawn?
it's
But-
dawny.
That's like the blackberry smoke
blue
song.
light.
People say it's darkest right before dawn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anyhow, it's
Oh, yeah.
yeah. But and it is. But then it's that pink light.
Yeah.
And the reason I like doing that is A, you're not using a flashlight.
True.
B, you're a hell of a lot quieter.
True.
And C, the woods are waking up.
Yeah,
So you're
cover.
making noise with
That makes so
everything
much
else
sense.
that's coming.
That-
That
that's
makes
a
so
good
much
aspect.
sense
Yeah.
that I'm going to apply that to my hunting coming up this season.
Yeah.
Probably one time. And then after that, I'm
Then
right back
it's not going to work though.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, how many squirrels have you heard climb a tree at 4:30 in the morning?
You don't. It's dead quiet.
Okay, how many at daylight do you hear scurrying?
How many deer have I
Smart.
spooked going in at 4 in the freaking morning?
Yeah, and if you do,
every time.
if you're in an area where, if you're hunting food, you're not hunting a transition because it's the time of year where you just need to stay on food where the does are.
Mm-hmm.
Then, when you booger them does walking in,
So what would be the cutoff time on that? Because you are talking about public land. So if there's a guy,
man, it doesn't bother
right
me.
or
I don't
wrong, and
care.
he's sitting in a damn tree, and you come walking through at 7:30 in the morning, you're going to catch some shit for that, especially on Facebook.
Yeah, but yeah, the social media trolls are terrible for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll probably do it this year, stay in this statement. Luckily, I never have. But I'll probably do it now, along with shoot over another one's back this year. I mean, I think it's more of a rule in the evening
Yeah.
than it is in the morning. You know what I mean? If
it's kind of hard
Yeah,
to judge.
evening,
yeah.
Like the one guy
because-
that was pissed, there was a guy scouting at 11 o'clock on a Saturday. You know,
Yeah.
like, come on, man. So I think we established. I probably established this because I'm all knowing, but
there that goes.
only because most of the guys that I've ever known that hunt, they hunt from dark to 9 o'clock, and they get out of the tree at 9 o'clock. Then they go back at like 3:34. So
Yeah.
I was kind of like between 9 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, no, that's too late. 9 and 3. If you see somebody scouting, you can't get mad at them. If they're outside of that window, then you can get mad at them.
When I was on a club, yeah, it was like at 11 a.m. was the cutoff. You were free to move between like 11 and
Right.
2.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. And that's the thing, man. Is the guy you go get in your deer stand at 7 o'clock, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna sit because I have to go to work or whatever family obligation is. I'm gonna sit from 7:30 in the morning, and I've got to get down at 4. Okay, all the people that get up and scout from 11 to 2. Dude, all they're doing is helping you. They're going.
Yeah,
they're pushing.
They're going to push deer
Yeah,
to
but
you.
that people don't. I don't know if it's that they don't realize it, or most people these days are fucking angry at their life, so they like.
Yeah, they're pissed at the world.
They
all
like
the
to
time.
get on
Yeah.
Facebook, and a lot of times I don't think that they realize. That's why I try to remind people, like, this is not Fort Bragg hunting worldwide page. This is Fort Bragg, North Carolina,
It's
where we
us.
all live.
It's the 100.
You're gonna run into
And,
someone eventually.
You know, and you could say, "Hey, man," you know, instead of "this motherfucker," because you might run into that motherfucker, and then
Yeah.
what? Are you that big badass that's just gonna fight everybody and don't give a fuck? You know,
Yeah,
there's always
eventually
that
one day
guy.
It's going to be your
There's
day.
always, there's always that one guy that just don't give a fuck about nothing, and we all know if I don't know who needs to hear this, but we all know that you're the one that cares the most. You know, the
Yeah.
guy that's like, oh, I don't care about nothing. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
That's why
And
you're
I'm-
saying that.
And I'm the little guy, so I kind of like I'm pretty peculiar about riding around and stuff. But I hunt areas that
yeah,
a lot of people aren't doing that because I get away from everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also hunting in an area within the area that people are like, what's that idiot doing?
Well, here's another thing. I hunt in most areas that are what you just said. There's no one else hunting there, really.
That's how I pick them sometimes. I'm like, okay,
But
nobody's there.
there is an area that I hunt that in the last couple of years has just gotten stupid crowded where it didn't used to be.
I already know what you're talking about.
So when I do go into that area, I know people that hunt there, so I'll shoot them a text and I'll be like, "Hey, where are you going to be?"
And I think that's getting more common.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if people would do that,
And if you were in a hunt club, you would have to do that.
PM
They
to
have a lot of the,
Yeah.
the hunt club I was in
Yeah,
Alabama.
PM to
Yeah.
deconflict
And
or
people
whatever.
get mad at that, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not." That just helps people out. Like, hey,
exactly,
that's
man.
actually-
I have no issue with
why
that
would
whatsoever.
I don't understand? And I wish somebody would comment. I think I asked this last time because somebody was making a smart ass comment, like, "Oh, I'll just PM to deconflict," but he was saying it like PM to deconflict was stupid. So I was like, "How is that dumb?"
Yeah.
Because I am going. Look, I'm going to come into that area at 4:00. You might have been sitting there since 2. So if you don't want me to drive under you and give you something to bitch about online,
While you're in the
I'm
thing.
trying to maybe I won't come. Maybe I'm going to go to my other area and I'm going to let you have that whole area. So
Yeah.
when I was in the first hunt club I was ever in, you had to check in. You didn't check in, but you went to this board, big piece of plywood, and it had a map of the area and it had little hooks.
That's how we hung
yeah.
ours.
And
you
everybody
put
had a
your
dog
hook-
tag,
yep.
and you whatever
Yeah.
stand, it was first come first serve.
Yeah.
And you could not hang your stand up there and leave it. You had to take it down. And it was gentleman rules, and everybody there got along. It was a hunt club, but you would go and say, "Okay, I'm at the Bradshaw Patch. That's where I like to hunt," and I would hang it there. If I got there and you were at the Bradshaw, I knew you were there.
Yeah, stay away.
So there was 2 different places to hunt at the Bradshaw Patch. So I wouldn't go to the next one because I knew you were there.
Yeah.
So
Like we had an instant this year turkey hunting. Dre and I, and the areas are big, but they can hunt small.
Yep.
So the guy pulled in. He was like, "Hey man, y'all beat me here. I was running late. Good luck." And I'm like, "Look, man, we're just going here. Go around, and just don't drive through there. Go all the way. We'll hunt to here and you hunt to there, and
Yeah.
it's no big deal whatsoever." And there's a lot of times like with my buddies, like with Jason and Josh and Dre, my brother Mike, our little crowd that hunts together. There's a lot of times where I'm like, "Man, you want to come climb like 100 yards from me?"
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I've done that before.
And,
Yeah.
and I enjoy it because if it's a cool afternoon,
Yeah.
you
Well,
and your buddy
I
are
tell
like,
you what,
"Yeah,
me
man."
and Randy did that one year, and it was, I don't know, it was 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm moon phase chart, and I'm like, well, they should be fucking moving around 3 o'clock. So we went out there about 2, set up. He was probably 150 yards from me. We both hunting bow. I don't think I had a bow. I think it was Randy. I can't remember if it was my first bow kill or not, and I should remember that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was my first recovered bow kill, maybe. But anyway, I shot at this fucking deer, and it ran. And then I thought I missed it, and then I heard Randy's crossbow go off, and I heard the deer run. So I got down after about 20 minutes or so, and I walk over there, and I'm thinking I missed, and Randy killed it. I'm never gonna fucking hear the end of this, When I get there, I call him. I'm like, "You're not gonna believe this. There were fucking 2 dead deer,
Yeah.
like within 5 feet of each other."
That's crazy.
So I shot the one, and it took off, and it hit a tree and died. And then Randy's deer went
call
this way, and he shot it and
Sonny
ran
Bono?
back. And it just, I don't know if it saw his homie dead and had a heart attack,
Wow.
or if it just died, what it was, but they were right there. It was his first bow kill, and I think it might have been mine too. Now, they weren't big deer or nothing like that.
doesn't matter. Kill 'em with a
But it
bow.
was late season. It was like, at the end of December.
My brother shot one.
So it can be fun sometimes.
Oh yeah. My brother shot one years ago, and the guy Mike that hunts with us, he was telling he tells the story a lot better than I do because he's like 6'3", and it's hard to imagine him being in the stands. He's big,
Yeah.
and his bow looks like it's this
Look
big.
like
when he's
Sasquatch
holding
up
it.
Like this motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
I
He's
forget how
bigger than
tall
him.
he is.
He's bigger than him. Like
Wow,
you know.
yeah.
But Mike's telling me the story. He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "This doe, like I heard her come running crossing the creek, and like she comes out, and I'm like, heck yeah." So he's got his bow ready and all this, and he said she walks up to him and gets ready to draw. And he's like, "The." It's bleeding, and all of a sudden she's
Oh, shit.
This one my brother shot like 5 minutes before.
Oh
that.
yeah,
Gotcha,
I've always thought about that too, especially where I hunt because it's near a main road and a busy road, and I'm like, what if one day I smack one and it just runs out on the road and gets smoked by a car?
Oh,
I wonder,
yeah.
has that ever happened on Brad?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know.
A
I don't know.
shot deer?
A shot,
Yeah, I don't know on brag, but I'm sure that's
I'm
happened.
sure.
Could you
Yeah,
imagine?
yeah.
You're like, because the time hunting's good too. Like you're picking your kid up from school on post, and all of a sudden here comes like a freaking 6-point buck with an arrow in it, just spurting blood everywhere. That'd be a great
No.
thing to explain to
It'd be
your
a
kid.
bad shot if there's an arrow sticking out of it.
Yeah.
Hey, I shot a deer last year, and it was a bad hit, obviously, but I was turned around in my tree. This is where a saddle would have came in handy. And as I was aiming, I turned to the right, and my fucking elbow hit the tree, so it went off prematurely.
Lord.
But it smacked him, and it was a buck. I was about a 6-point buck.
Shoulder
maybe.
shot more than likely.
No, it was in the back.
Oh yeah, they'll die.
But this damn deer walked. It ran, stopped, and I could see it in my binos. There was blood coming out, and it's just standing there. I'm like waiting for it to die, and then I saw it walk back into the cut, and I should have probably waited till the next morning, but it was hot outside. You know, it was like October, so I waited till it was dark, about an hour, and I went. And as I'm tracking the blood, a lot of blood, and then it turned into a drop, and I'm on my hands and knees, and I'm in the draw, and I hear this fucking thing get up and go. But I was just surprised that damn thing survived that. I mean, it was bleeding like a motherfucker.
Yeah, they're tough animals. Their desire to live well surpasses our desire to find them. Even as much as we like I've literally looked for deer for days. You know,
man,
big deer.
Yeah.
Even I mean, hell, a button buck gets just as much respect. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you're not like, shot a button buck, man. I'm gonna go back and look for him tomorrow morning.
I just want to tell everyone, if you're watching,
yeah.
we got more people tuning in right now. We are live on the live chat, so if you got any questions, hit us up. We'll hit the chat here in a bit, but send them, man. Send
Hell
them
yeah.
questions.
How many
Chat's
people
good.
we got?
We got 6 in right now.
Oh,
My
That's
wife's
pretty good.
watching.
We're getting big time.
Those
Yeah.
questions.
So now we got 4. As soon as I said that, we got 4.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Yeah.
That was a good
He
listen.
knows I'm watching.
Yeah, but
Ghost mode.
Man, we had one deer. My buddy, it was his first buck at Bragg, and it was weird because it was a big buck, but it had a small rack. That was bizarre. Like it was a big.
Might have
boy.
been old.
Why? It's old. They downgrade.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they shed and grow new ones too.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but
why they're
he shot this deer dead center chest, and it was about, it was getting dark, but we stayed out there, man, and we called in and we're like, hey, we're tracking this deer. They're like, okay, we'll go ahead and track and, but if you don't find by this time, you gotta be out. But man, we were out there for about 4 hours, and this joker, it was annoying because it was drop, 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 drop. And he knew he had a good shot on it. And I'll tell you how much, because after we found it, it had no lungs. It probably went for almost a half a mile.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we lost it. And what it did was it skirted this brush. You got that tall, I call it cane. It looks like,
bamboo.
the reeds.
Yeah, it's reeds.
And this joker, so we thought we lost it, and then I was like, nah, man. You could see where it tore through, but so I followed it, and it was dark, and I was starting to lose. And by the way, those stupid blood flashlights, they're garbage.
Yeah.
Don't waste your money on them bullshit.
Yeah.
I learned that day. I thought it was good. I'm like, ooh,
I learned that
nah,
when I was about 12.
those things. Well, all right, Mister Freaking, give me some slack. I'm an adult learner.
Get
All
you a
right.
bottle
I've got
of
one.
Frost. in an LED flashlight.
I think
sucks
I've
for
got
blood trail
every
too.
gadget.
I'll tell you what gave it away. It was an enigma, man. So we track it and we're like, oh great, we got great blood. It jumped over the brush, and that brush just had a paint, it looked like someone took a paint roller of blood. And then it went out to the fire break, and then it was drop, and it stopped. And I'm like, and you could see where it crossed the fire break, but there's no tracks. That thing jumped clean over the fire break, and we almost gave up. So we're like, we found no more blood, and we searched for another. This was 2 hours later, and finally I'm like, man, fuck this. So I started doing the fan technique, which I heard about, find the last blood and just do circles and make a target.
Yeah, get
and
bigger
sure
and bigger.
enough,
Yeah.
up the ridge about freaking it must have been 800 yards up that ridge. It died going up the ridge. And we found that deer, and it had a tiny little drill hole in it, but that thing's entire chest cavity. Its lungs were shredded when we got it, and it was just all the blood was in the chest.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, no wonder we can get a good blood trail, I don't know how it spilled all that blood when it jumped
Did
the
the
brush.
arrow go through?
No, it was a rifle shot.
Oh.
It was a 270.
I shot
ballistic
one.
Tip.
Yeah,
I
it was
shot
deer
tips.
rounds though, man.
Ballistic tips are terrible, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna tell you what, man.
That's what I want to ask
I
too.
screwed up. I screwed up a few years ago, and I was out. I like Corlock, Remington Corlock, because they're not.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They're not for long distance shooting, but
No,
they
it was- I'm
they
sorry.
drop a deer on a 308.
This was that fancy bullshit,
I had a
the silver
Hornady.
case with the black tip.
That's the
Yeah.
Winchester Supremes.
Yeah.
No, I had these Hornadays, and I
Not gonna use
shot
those
this
anymore.
fucking deer, and it was a doe. It was a big fucking doe, though. I think she was kind of 115 pounds, and she fucking looked around when I did the shot.
We need a button every time Buddy curses.
I know. I wanted to
We need
keep
a-
a tally.
Yeah.
But I think I would run out of paper.
Anyway, she effing looked around, but then she walked off, and I'm thinking this is a 30-yard shot. Now I'm hunting the kiddie pool stand, my buddy's property over a corn pile.
Tell the public what kiddie pool is.
It's a corn pile.
Right.
So if you're hunting over a corn, I call it the kiddie pool because that's like where I'll take my kids, or when Bragg's closed on Monday and Tuesday and I want to hunt, I'll go sit in this. It's a stand on a power line like you see in North Carolina. Every power line, look down a power line and you're going to see.
Oh yeah.
And he's got, and it's a good little spot. But I shot this doe and I started to like, the fuck, man, did I miss from 30 yards? Like, I wasn't excited. I watched her for a while. She had like 4 other deer with her. And I was waiting on a buck because it was rut, but I had to go, so I shot her. Anyway, I got down and there was no blood. And I'm like, well, I cannot accept the fact that I missed this deer. There's no way. So I walked to where I saw her go and I start looking and I fuck it. Go back to my truck and I'm like, this is impossible. And I go back and I get on my hands and knees and I go into this fucking thorn tunnel and I see a drop of blood. And I'm like, okay, I got her.
Drop is all you need.
Bad hit. So I started probably about 2 hours. I'm on my hands and knees going through this shit, drop here, getting fucked. Finally, I find her. She's only like 60 yards away, but it's so thick in between. Yeah. You know, hindsight, if I just would have went around, I would have found her.
Well, you don't know that.
You don't know
you
that.
don't know.
And you learn a lot by tracking. Like, I love friggin' tracking deer, dude. Like,
yeah.
I don't even have to know you. Like, there's so many times people are like, anybody got a dog? And I'm like, nah, I don't, but I'll come help.
Yeah.
But
Depends how early in the season. If it's late in the season,
care.
I'm just
I
like,
love tracking
nah,
deer.
I'm already
I like
warm.
learning. I'm new to tracking. He helped me out, and Randy came out, and I learned from them.
My cousin Willie
I
is
used
a
to give
good.
up, man.
He taught me how to. He tracked my first deers that I couldn't find.
As y'all know, I'm not a good shot, so
Oh,
I'm not on an animal, I should say.
Hey, my point on that story about the deer was when I got her, she was shot perfectly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have shot her any better. And it was a fucking. I went and I took out my little magazine and I got a Ruger Americans, got a little magazine clip. Yeah. And it was actually, one of my buddy's friends, he's like, what kind of bullet did you use? And I looked, and it was a fucking Hornady, like high speed, probably cost $5 for the bullet, but it went through her so quick that she just didn't even know she was hit.
It's just a little bit of trauma.
Yeah.
Have
So,
you
core locks, they drop. I don't care, 80 yards. I shoot a deer with a core lock. That thing just drops.
You do rifle hunt?
A
little bit.
When I used to a lot more.
Okay.
On base, I rarely do.
Yeah.
Unless it's the end of the
cool
year.
for that.
It's not too cool. I just want to stay the hell away from everybody.
I think bow hunting's cooler though. Honestly,
It is.
I'm gonna do more bow
But
hunting this year.
Barnes makes, of course, they make ammunition, but they make a point that is called a TSX.
Oh, we got a question. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's TTSX, which is tipped, which means ballistic tip, and then there's TSX, which this is like a hollow point deal. And I don't care. Like, I was shooting them. Ted Nugent Ammo was loading them for a while. Federal was loading them for a while. I think Federal's backloading them. That's what I recently bought.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if I've ever tracked a deer I shot with one.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never tracked except that one. I've never tracked a
and
deer
they're
shot
full
with a
pass
rifle.
throughs. Yeah. Because, it's just like bow hunt. I mean, how many deer you shot with a bow, it sticks in the opposing shoulder, and the blood trail is terrible because the point of entry is high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's, your exit is normally where you get all your blood and your trail and different things like that from.
Yeah.
So we got a question here. We got Joshua Fuchs. I think he's from the page. Yeah.
Fucks. Could you imagine
Did I say that wrong?
Could you imagine that? Brendan Yeatley here, Jonathan Holloway here, Joshua Fucks.
That's how you say his last name?
Goddamn right he does. Fucks hard too.
Is that really how you say his name?
No, it's Fox.
Okay, Fox. Well, Josh Fox
yeah.
asks, "What's your favorite broadhead?" I'll tell you what mine is, and then he says, "I'm shooting Montec G5s and they fly nice, but have never shot deer with one. Shot over and under a few. I like myself. I've had luck with Grim Reapers, the mechanicals. Yeah. I like mechanicals. Now I have had mechanical broadheads that didn't open all the way, but it still killed the deer.
Oh, yeah.
But you remember the old grandpa triangular ones that you get at the hardware store for you get like 100 of them for like $2. I mean,
are they
Thunderheads?
You know what I'm talking about? The ones that are like triangular and they have like four sides. The old
like 4
80s.
razor blades.
Yeah,
those were good, man.
I mean, how do y'all feel?
You sharpen them.
What do you use when you
QAD Exodus?
Okay, are those mechanicals or are they
No,
just?
they're a fixed blade. I wouldn't shoot a mechanical.
I like the the Rampage, the ones with they look like an X.
Yeah, I had some of those, but they kept those.
The problem is when that little rubber thing gets, what do they call that?
Grommet,
the little grommet
ring or whatever.
And then you go to pull it back, and the things are scissoring, they're moving. But the arrow, as soon as you let it go, because I pulled back on a deer, and my Rampage was hinging because the little fucking locking grommet got loose or whatever. So I just would let it fly, and it still killed the fuck out of that deer.
Those Grim Reapers, man, because I've shot deer when I first started bow hunting. I used the Dollar General, I call them, just the generic triangle, because I thought that's what my uncles had, so that's what I should use.
Those work good though if you sharpen them. They leave a lot of blood.
Now the Grim Reaper, that thing has put some damage in the deer I've shot.
Yeah.
Like it dropped the first deer that I ever shot on brag with a bow was a spike, but I was just happy to get a bow shot. He came in close, but that thing dropped his ass like a sack of shit, man.
I shot that one that I've got mounted on the backpack, the 8-pointer. I shot him with the Rampage from about, I don't know, it's about 20 yards from my tree, but I was about 30 feet up, so you do the math.
Right.
And he jumped, took about 2 steps, about 15 yards, and he fell over and he died. And I was able to watch him. I was watching the steam come out of his nose, and he was dead within like, I don't know, 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And when I gutted him, it's like it turned his whole insides into his lungs, his heart, like Jello almost.
Yeah.
That's how much, and it went right through. I mean, it went through him so quick that he was so close, and the sun was just right. I could see the hair still floating.
Oh wow.
And that's when I knew I hit him.
Slow-mo.
It was that
cool.
slow-mo because what happened with him, there's always a story behind
People
the deer.
don't realize how shit can like shut down and just.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you get into that zone, man.
Yeah.
This deer came
Especially
in
when
at
you miss.
exactly the same time that I thought he might come in. He came down the exact fucking trail. There I go again. Sorry. He came down the exact trail that I thought he would at the time, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And he was like grunting.
But he's like, I was right.
I was like,
this is crazy.
yes! Like I figured it out. Now, 99% of it was luck. 1% was, okay, I knew he was there. Yeah. But so I had him at like 35 yards straight on, right where I wanted him, because there was a rub. And he wasn't rubbing, he was sniffing the rub.
Yeah.
And this is a funny story. I go to pull back to get him, and I just got my bow restrung at Godwin's. But the guy that did it didn't put enough thread around the knock. So the arrow wouldn't stay knocked. I'd pull it back and it would fall.
Oh man.
And now I'm like, oh my God. So I fucking throw it down.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna laugh every time.
And I
kind of bit it down a little bit.
no, that wouldn't work. It was hard. It would not flex.
too?
I tried that.
Yeah,
So
that's unlikely with them. Boys,
so
man.
I
They're
got
pretty
another
top-notch.
one. I got another arrow out, and I put it in, and that's when I bit it, and I was like, oh, and it felt a little more sturdy. I went and pulled back. It fell again. Now the deer's moving. He's sniffing another spot, and he's going. I got another arrow, and I shit you not, I grabbed a piece of bark off the pine tree. I had the bow in my between my arm and my rib cage, and I slipped it between the arrow nock and the string, and got a lock. Enough time to fucking reclasp the fucking release, pull back, and get him as he was crossing. Because by the time he got done with that, he was moving up to the fire break. Because there's a food plot over there too, but I don't know if he was going
When it's
there.
your day to kill them, it's your day.
Yeah.
No matter what goes wrong,
came
it just
through,
comes
bro.
together.
And I ain't gonna lie, I was so ate up with nerves that I fucking cried.
Yeah.
Like, I had
that's
tears in
that's
my
the cool
eyes.
thing,
I was
man.
like,
It's
that
the-
feeling is that's
it's
why
the
we do
same
it.
thing with
Yeah.
fishing.
Yeah.
You know, we say all the time, like when you win a tournament, some days you're like, how the hell did I win this thing? Like everything went wrong, but at the same time, when it's your day, it's your
just-
day. And deer hunting's a lot like that.
and deer hunting too is, I mean, you learn it a lot. You learn it a lot in combat. And I say only use combat as an example because it's the only thing close that I can, and not the killing aspect. The thing, you train for something you've never done. You think about it, you train for it, you train for it, you train for it. And you always kind of think like, I don't know, combat's pretty scary. But when it happens, it's almost like the military spent so much time taking the fun out of everything, and you just drill, that when it comes time to do it, you just do it.
Well,
It's like surfing and a
Automatically go through the
pop-up.
motions, but you're
You
still
put so much thought into your pop-up surfing, and then when you finally get it, you do it 100 times. You don't even think about it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think with bow hunting, that kind of, in a way, could correlate because it's. I mean, you need some muscle memory and you need a repetition.
yeah, you have to be good at hitting your
Yeah,
target.
rifle hunting.
How many of you guys? So
No.
Not
look.
not for us.
Look,
Rifle's
a
kinda
rifle.
point and click.
Look, a
Yeah,
rifle
it's,
though.
there he is.
I
Bam.
still get the heart.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you don't quit.
Anytime,
Yep.
anytime I have had that mentality, shooting a rifle at a deer, I've missed.
We've
Where
got-
I'm just like, oh, I got this deer. If
Oh yeah, you'll miss the hell out
I
of it.
miss it, but where I miss deer is I'll have a clear sight picture and a fucking fuzzy X, where it's supposed to be. I don't know how to say. How do you
Yeah,
say that right?
I was taught that as well, and it works in the Army.
When you
Yep.
looked at, when you look,
make your target blurry, make
your
sight
target's
clear.
blurry and your sight picture is clear.
Yep.
If you reverse that and you have a fuzzy X, I'm using an X because of scope. If you a crosshair, if you've got a fuzzy crosshair and a clear sight, your chances are you're going to miss that target.
I normally have both though. Clear.
No,
Try to focus on your
You
sight.
should have
Yep.
your eye should pinpoint right in the middle of your sight or on the top of your whatever you're using, and your sight not blurry to where you can't see it, but you'll notice it if you really pay attention when you really dial into the fucking X. Your sight will just get blurry.
Well, I've got my bow
And that's when you're
sight-
like locked.
my bow sight now. When I draw, like my sight pin's blurry. Like my housing, but I think it's just because I'm friggin' old and I can't see no more.
That
Like,
could be it,
I
too.
went to the doctor with my wife to try to see if I had like
it
an
sucks, man.
astigmatism.
Yeah.
Cody, the dude that worked at Alton's up there at Godwin's, like me and him sat there one day, like every peep, every clarifier, everything you could possibly do. And then finally, I was like, "Man, what's the biggest peep you got?" And if you ever see my bow, you're like, "Damn, that's a big peep." It's
Glasses.
literally that big.
It's like on the in the Army on the M4s, well, the M16s as well. They have a sight for normal combat, then you have a night sight, and you also have a it's
just
for,
a bigger
for firing
hole.
with a mask on. It's a bigger hole. But a lot of the problems at the range is we'd be out there and you'd have a soldier that just could not qualify. And the first thing you gotta check is that rear sight aperture because you can flip it down. It's like is your shit on the regular one or is it on the nighttime fire? 'Cause it's a
Yeah.
difference of like a pinhole versus like a, like that. So that's what that reminds me of. But we also got Josh Whitford Fishing that says.
God.
You win tournaments and kill big deer. Holloway must be a celebrity. Well, he is. That's why we've had him here 3 times in a row. And Brian Ward says
you
also.
know him.
Josh, very
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
That is one of the best dudes that you'll ever meet.
Okay.
Right, so
He's
shout out to Josh. From,
Yeah, he's
the
straight.
Josh.
He's straight as a transit, man. I enjoy. He's a. I told him the other day he needs to come on. He's like, I ain't never killed nothing on Bragg. I'm like, hell, he's killed some really great deer on private land and stuff like that. He hunts. He's good friends
Well,
with
Josh,
Skipper.
that's easy.
Yeah.
No, it's not. not where he's hunting. 'Cause
That's
that-
easy. You
Hey,
killed
look,
your pet. I'm just joking.
Listen, they dog hunt the land he's bow hunting.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, I killed my
So-
best deer. I killed my best deer that I've ever killed because of dog hunters. I was hunting out in Fort Bragg, but close to the Rayford
Yeah.
spot where they dog hunt, and I was packing up because I was pissed. They ruined my hunt.
No.
I was packing my shit up. 9:30 in the morning, freezing my ass off all morning. Here are these dogs fucking my hunt up.
Yeah.
His deer sleep like this, man. They were like one eye. you know what I mean? They never really get fully at ease, I should
That's
say.
what I've come to find on Bragg too. Like I used to get really pissed about people driving through, running through, walking through. Now, one thing is stupid though. I will tell everyone if there's people that are listening that are not hunters but are on Bragg and walk their dogs in the training area.
That's dumb.
Dude,
if you want your
I
dog,
is
like-
terrible for that.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a dog that looks anything like a coyote.
Yeah.
That's a
Let's
real-
let your German Shepherd.
I think it might have been a Belgian Malinois, but I thought it was a coyote.
And here's another thing too, man. And I put this out on the page. Like we have a lot of active duty people that hunt, especially as an NCO, non-commissioned officer. We have to give a safety brief. Tell your guy, like if you're an NCO listening, tell your guys to tell their dependents and just give it in the safety brief. Hey, during hunting season, don't freaking PT in the training.
Wasn't there a
areas.
guy that
Yeah.
said, "Hey, he was on the page too"? I think he
Yeah.
said that he encouraged at the FRG meeting for the wives, the what do you call it, the pendopotamuses, to
Yeah.
go to the area K and walk and get some exercise.
Don't
and
do
I'm
that,
like,
man.
not during hunting season,
Yeah, that's
motherfucker.
like you got to be an idiot, and you know that someone was killed on the All American Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's and that's the thing too, man. Is a lot of people. I wouldn't calling them idiot kind of gives them a broad spectrum, but uninformed.
They don't know. I've stopped.
Well, not the
Exactly.
person that got killed is an idiot, but I mean,
I stopped some
Yeah.
guys in
They
coming
just
out,
They
and
absolutely do
Yeah.
not know.
they had a dog and they had a big walking stick. Like they
Yeah.
looked like they prepared for this hike for a long
Yeah,
time.
they talked about it Tuesday.
Yeah,
They're
they,
like,
yeah,
hell
yeah, we're going hiking and everything. And I said, hey man, and I always tell people like, look, you do what you want. It's not my business. I'm not the law. My job is not to enforce the rules. I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm
going to
just-
let you know
some advice.
this is hunting season, and I know there's 3 guys back there right now hunting, and they're like, oh my God, you can hunt on Fort Bragg? I didn't know. Thanks for telling us. So
Yeah.
if you approach it the right way, now, if I'm a guy
Don't
and
pull it
I'm
with your
out.
ball swinging.
Yeah, if I'm out there and I'm walking my dog and you walk up and you start giving me an attitude, I don't care if I'm right or wrong. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're not the cop. So it's how you approach people. Not everybody knows. And
Yeah.
I've seen people I've met people that have been approached by hunters, and basically they've told me that, and these people I trust, so they're not lying, that the hunters will inform them in a way almost like, you fucking moron, like you should.
Yeah, that's-
like I didn't know, so now it becomes
Yeah,
a dick
It's not,
measuring
I'm
contest.
better than thou.
I've had a couple encounters in K. No, one day I was walking out of the woods and I'm in my full kit. I'm painted up, so I probably look like Sasquatch. But this lady got she pulled up and I weighed her down because she had her dogs in the back of her truck, and she actually asked me. She's like, and she was looking around. I thought she was scouting. And she said, "Is this a good place to walk your dogs?" I said, "Absolutely not." And you know how many people are in the area because the sign by Toro. I was like, "There's like 6 guys in here hunting right now, and you've got big brown dogs.
Yeah.
If they, I don't know how disciplined they are, but she's like, oh, thank you, I didn't know." Now, I felt like she kind of was playing like bullshit, like I'm caught, so I'm gonna make an excuse because I know I'm not. You're not actually
some do.
on brag. If anyone's listening out there that's just tuning in just for the hell of it and they're here local,
You're not supposed to.
you're
be
not
out
even supposed to
there.
be in the training area, even if you're an
Ever.
active duty soldier,
Yeah.
unless it's pre. And I had one guy, and I could tell he was a cool guy. He was out there rucking one day, and he's in his coyotes, like his drab clothing. And he's running in and out of the trails and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I told him the same thing. I always tell people, I'm like, I always try to tell them how many people are hunting in there right now, because that will kind of make you think that, like, whoa, it's likely if I come through the bushes, someone might be ready to go because they hear it. They might let one loose, and it's too late after that.
Yeah,
But
not everybody
I was like-
pays attention. And
I was like, hey, bro. Yeah, I was nice. I was like, hey, man, just want to let you know there's like 5 people in here hunting right now, like in this specific area. And he's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And he kind of, I'm like, okay, dude, cool.
He's
like-
probably training for the Q course. And
Yeah,
he's
but
so
I mean,
cool.
it's like, I know.
You know, he's carrying a spare tire in a rucksack. You ain't telling that motherfucker nothing.
Yeah.
Just let him go.
And it
Hey,
sucks
we
because,
found
like,
them before too. Like, look, dude, you're going the wrong way. They're
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not. Like, all right, motherfucker, run
But
that way.
I pulled up to some damn. It was during the ROT. You know, when the ROTC comes through, and they were like these fuckers. I could tell they were lost. And I pulled up next to him in the truck, and I was like, "Hey, man, you want to ride?" And they were like, "No, we can't." And then they thought I was like, one of them. I heard him when I was driving off. He's like, "I think he's a hunter." I'm like, yeah, I'm hunting. He was like, yeah. They jumped in the back of my truck.
I've also
They thought I
heard,
was
though-
Cadre trying to
check-
get
yeah,
them.
they're going to
check
try
this
to
I
shit
drove up
out.
the Long Street and dropped them off.
check this shit out, too. I've also heard there are people on Bragg who are just, like, super hippie and against hunting, and they'll go out there on purpose and make noise trying to scare the deer.
Really?
Yeah.
I never
Some
heard
of
of
the
that.
wives who are just like, don't believe it. I've heard that. We got a guy, Josh Whitford, saying, Holloway, you remember the lady that was screaming randomly running down the fire break?
do what?
Yeah. He asked if you remember a lady screaming randomly running down the fire break out there. I'm sure it happened, but
What
Yeah.
year was it? What was she screaming for?
They're probably just to be screaming. I don't remember that one.
Just letting it out.
I'm sure.
Like, you
I've
know,
heard some funny-
Like
I've heard
going
some
to the
mad-
woods and howling.
there's people, man. You never know. Like, and I get it. You know, it's very appealing to be out. There's a lot of places you can go and hike, but don't do it on post.
Okay,
'cause-
so I don't mind the people. I think the deer are used to that.
Yeah.
But what I don't like and what does piss me off is when these cocksuckers come out there in those fucking Jeeps.
Oh, yeah.
at It's prime time. Now I don't care if the deer are
Dude,
used to it or not.
I
If
hate
that
that.
deer is crossing, coming my way, and you start barreling up and down that damn hill, you know,
gone.
whatever, they're gonna go the other way. They're not gonna walk right past you coming to my area.
I want to tell you a story about this. I think it was in Cedar Creek. I don't remember. Anyhow, it's just we may have been somewhere else hunting, another state or whatever it may be.
Got another question, but
But and the reason I'm saying this is because the deer know the difference between a friggin' Troops Humvee
yeah,
and your
they do.
Jeep.
yeah,
And the reason being is because you can go with the farmer that rides his cornfield every day
yeah.
in a red truck, and you know the deer don't pay any attention. You can get in your red truck, and they're like, "Pfft."
Yeah.
And because I've seen in a lot of instances where troops training, you know, going through fire breaks, doing whatever. I'm not well educated on whatever they train, whatever they're doing, but
Land down.
Stuff.
yeah, just doing whatever the hell
Yeah.
they're told to do.
Yeah.
And the deer will literally from the ridge just sit there and just watch them.
Yeah.
And then
As long
you
as
let
they're
'em-
moving, you know, it's when you
It's
stop.
when you stop, exactly.
It's the same thing
It's-
whenever I'm driving down. What's that road? That dirt road, McKellar's Road, the one that goes out, it splits between M, L. It goes from Long Street to Lamont.
The fire break.
It's not a fire break. It's a improved. It's not a hardball, but it's a rock
Oh,
road.
isn't that?
It's McKellar's.
Yeah, McKellar's Road.
Their dove fields are on it.
Yeah, that's McKellar.
Okay,
Okay,
so-
where Freedom 5 and all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff?
So when I'm driving back through and
It's
I'm
like
taking
there's a
that
lot of
road,
dirt roads
yeah,
out there.
it's a rock road. It's an
About to say,
improved
there's Lone,
fire break.
McKellar's Street,
Yeah.
you know, all that stuff.
But you see the deer; they'll be out in those dove fields, and as long as you're moving, they
don't pay any
even pay
attention.
attention. But as soon as you hit them brakes and you stop, they're gone. Like
It's
they
like a-
know that.
It's like a Grays Creek deer, man. They hear a window squeak.
Yeah.
They're like, they're gone.
Louisiana too, man.
Yeah, they're
So
like, oh,
shit, you
hell.
know, in Texas, you can hunt them out of a vehicle in Texas.
Really? That's like
Yeah.
Virginia. You can shoot turkeys with a rifle.
Well, geez, that's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. We got
Yeah,
Gary
exactly.
Matyock. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but he's asking, what's your strategy when trying to find a new hunting spot on Bragg? I noticed when I try to scout before going boots on the ground, it seems Onyx isn't always updated for Bragg. Love the show, by the way. So thank you for tuning.
Go ahead.
I worked with some new spots last season. I had my go-to spots the first couple years I started hunting Bragg, and I only hunted like 2 different places, but I started to expand more. My strategy is I just go in, and I go in during the day, and I'll walk on the fire break, and I'll try to find just tracks. And as far as OnX, I use...
I like hunt stand.
Hunt Stand. Yeah, Hunt Stand is pretty good. Actually, the Bragg freaking map. If you're not aware, I mean, there's people that aren't aware of
Avenza map.
Avenza. Go out on,
Yeah.
get on Avenza, and you can download. There's a map of Bragg that's real time, and it shows you where you are. You just pull it up when you're
And
on.
you can get that map through the
iSportsman.
iSportsman, yeah.
Yeah.
The maps are on iSportsman. They got McCall, they got Bragg, they've got food plot maps. They've got, or you can download the food plot maps and bring them up. But Avenza's really good. You can actually put markers on there too now, and you can
Yeah, yeah.
save spots.
Oh yeah.
And
my events has got
it-
spots everywhere.
Once you download it, even if you don't have service, it still tracks you. So that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So my strategy, just find tracks, man. Find what you know. In Bragg, you're going to have the transition areas. You're going to have low points in food. Acorns. You're going to have acorns, persimmons. You're going to have creeks. And it's always like this usually. It's low area creek, fire break, ridge, oak stand. All right? So it's pretty simple, man. Like,
Yeah.
as long as you find where they are eating and where they're moving, and you post up somewhere in there at the right times, you're going to smack a deer. I've heard guys on the page who've said, I didn't hunt and Bragg, these guys, and you got to understand, it's a military post. So you got guys from all over the country. They're different strategies. I was the same way when I first got to the South, and I didn't believe you had to be in trees. Because out West, the guy I learned who taught me to hunt
walk.
was a Washington State hunter. So he's elk. That's how we ended up on a 15-mile freaking hike.
Sitting and glassing.
Yeah, so he's sitting on a ridge and he's looking, 2 or 3 miles, and he's also stalking too, hunting. So, that's another big thing. So you get these guys, I can't believe, honestly, like, I don't want to jinx myself, but even when I wasn't killing deer on Bragg, my first year I didn't kill shit on Bragg, but I was still seeing deer. Like, they were out there, man. I really didn't know what I was doing, but
That's
my
best.
strategy. Yeah.
That's the best strategy, I would say, if you're new to hunting, you know what I mean? The fire breaks give it away. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You
yeah.
now from there you can set up or you can continue to scout. That could be a good starting point to scout.
Right.
Because if you follow the trail and you say, okay, they're walking through here, you might find a scrape. If you find a scrape, you know that it's being visited by multiple deer. And if you find a rub, now you know you got a fucking buck who's established this area
Yes.
as his home.
If you look near creeks, you will see
Yeah.
like literal, I call them deer highways, man. You'll see points where there's 20 deer moving through that area. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah. There's
It's all,
trails.
yeah, the little muddy areas. So, yeah, that's a good point.
That's I mean, for Fort Bragg, I mean, anybody, you can be an experienced hunter or a new hunter. If you just follow that, the fire breaks give it away.
It's
you know?
new every dang time you go
Yeah.
out there. Too,
Yeah, it is.
Man.
Yeah.
I like I said last time, man. Just if you're
Walk along
if
the
you're
creeks.
If you're short on time, just pick an area that's close to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to get the hell away,
Yep.
go to the other end of base.
Yeah.
But the first thing I would do when I'd get there, I'd ride every fire break with my vehicle, every one of them, from boundary to boundary, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
And then I would consolidate it down to a couple.
Yeah.
And then I'd consolidate that down to in between 2 or 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd consolidate that down to actual somewhere on that fire break. Because man, you can ride. Their movement's going to change depending on the time of year, like we talked about last
Oh, yeah.
time. Early season, they're going to be a little bit lower.
Bucks will be together until like
they're still-
mid-October.
They're,
So
they're
they're
bachelored up until they get hard horned.
Yeah.
And even kind of still last year, but I saw hard horn deer together until dang near the 1st of November.
yeah,
It
no,
was
Randy.
crazy.
Randy, I can't remember. It was late October.
Wow,
we
it
were
is,
thinking
yeah.
it might be
Yeah.
the time for the rut to start. The deer to start kind of like testing each other and kind of like sparring with each other. And he saw 3 damn bucks, like nice ones too, all grouped up
Yeah.
together.
But it can also click like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing too is a doe in that area, and a lot of people don't realize that, man. A doe doesn't just it's no it's going to be sometime in November. A doe will normally go into estrus within the same 24-hour period her entire life. They did a study on that with
Oh shit! Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was, but a doe's going to go in estrus about the same time throughout her.
Do you
entire
reckon
life
that
cycle.
there's a I heard different things about what starts the rut and how they predict it, but there's a gland in
Time of
the
day.
eyeball of the
Time of day.
of the
Or length of day, I should say.
yeah. There's a gland in the eyeball of a male deer, and when the time with the longest day, or when it gets to the shortest day, it's like it
It's
knows.
the length of day
Boom.
time.
Like the whole reason why they grow antlers is to get laid. That's the whole reason. That when they don't need to get laid, they don't have antlers.
Well, that's the only time they're what's the word I'm looking for? Fertile.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they know that they're gonna be there's gonna be, we'll speak like a family show. There's gonna be mating season for a short amount of time, and in order to mate the most, you have to kick the most ass.
Yeah, it'd be the
so you
biggest-
got to have that's what their antlers are for.
Well, if you
is
look
for
at them
fighting.
little 4-pointers and 6-pointers, to them it's whoever can run the most. Because there's certain areas I've hunted, I see the same deer. I'm like, some bitch is still running. three days later, I'm sending them a video. I'm like, look, dude, we had a
Forrest
deer.
Gump deer.
I shit you not, we had a deer last year. He had one horn on his right. I got a video. I'll show you when we get done. He had one horn on his right side. It was like 2, 3, 4 maybe, and then his other horn went straight down beside his eye.
Whoa.
Oh, he needs
like-
to get killed.
I saw him on a Wednesday. Like I sent a picture to my buddy Jason. He was standing under me. I shot a picture, and I was like, "Look at this crazy old bastard." And then it was a younger deer. Then Friday, pretty good ways where I seen him, Jason was like, "Man, I've got that stupid deer over here dogging does." And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool." Well, he goes home back to the beach, and Sunday afternoon, I'm in the stand here. I'm like, "Oh hell, here we go!" And I look over to my left. Here he comes again.
Hell
I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh my gosh, man!"
Hey, I seen a deer one
He
time.
was
It was
running.
funny. You remember,
Yeah.
you remember Pepe Le Pew? Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah.
So I'm in a tree and I'm hunting, and I forgot what happened. Randy was dropping off a cooler at my house, and he put it in the back of my truck and set the alarm off. So when the alarm goes off, it's like 7:38 in the morning. My wife calls me. My wife at the time calls me, and she's pissed. And Randy's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm in between 2 phone calls. And I'm like, turn the fucking
Mini
alarm off.
panic moments.
And you're okay. It's not that big of a
Yeah.
deal. You set my alarm off. I knew he was coming. And I don't think we weren't getting along at the time. It was mid hunting season. So that my marriage pretty much ended every hunting season. But anyway, I was like, deal with it. And I look over and this doe runs out, and she looks like she's been rode hard, put up wet. She's tired. She looks like she's got mange. She's small and skinny, and she runs. And then I hear the, I can't make the sound. But this deer, I almost said MFer, is bouncing like left and right. And he's got his tongue hanging out.
happy.
And he's like, doo, doo, doo. And I was like in shock. I was like, am I really seeing this? Like, because they had just burned this area down. So the pine trees were only like, I don't know, 5 feet tall, 6 feet tall. And I'm right on the edge. But the way he was jumping left and right with his tongue hanging out, it reminded me of Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah.
And then he finally stopped at the bottom of my tree. Now he was an 8-pointer, but he was a real skinny 8-pointer. He looked like twigs, but he was an 8-pointer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I decided I'm going to shoot this damn thing because I ain't shot nothing in a while.
I mean, honestly, you figure
Couldn't stop him.
Your mentality if you only got to one time a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You know what I
had, man,
Yeah.
you were out there. We were hunting together one morning. It was a beautiful morning, man. And like, sure enough, around 8 o'clock, here comes 4-pointer out of the bush. I heard him, and he walked up. I'm like, man, should I? But I hadn't gotten I don't think I'd shot.
You talking about that first morning? It was cold as hell.
Yeah.
And I shot the doe.
Yeah. I hear Buddy take a shot,
He
so I'm
shoots
like,
the first deer he sees every time.
well,
doesn't
but and meat, man.
kill 'em all.
But here's the
He's
thing,
like,
dude.
I'm
Like,
just
I
here to
see
feel
this guy.
I'm a hunter.
I see this guy come out, and
Yeah,
he's.
deer
I'm like,
hunter.
oh
This is
man,
a deer,
here,
I
like,
kill it.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get him. I don't care. He's a 4-point. He's a buck, And I was like, that. I don't think I was too concerned about a trophy.
You didn't shoot it that
I
day.
didn't, though, 'cause
I
he came
told
up-
him to shoot it.
He told me to shoot it, man. So
He
I'm like,
walked right up to a stand.
this,
He's like,
I got a
"Let's do
picture
it."
of it. Yeah, this. I was like, I had my rifle up, and I'm like, that's when I had like my dad moment because I saw this little guy, and he was out there, and it was a beautiful morning. He's all just happy, man. He's jumping around. He's doing his little jump and twist, and he walks right under my stand. I'm like, oh shit, and he looks up at me, and he's like,
Sup,
and I
dude?
actually looked down at him. I was like, sup, brah? And he just kind of went, and he went up the ridge a little bit more, and then finally looked back at me, and I like did something. He went, psh, and took off. But it was just funny, man. That picture was hilarious.
So
I
I'm
sent
a
Buddy the
hunter,
picture.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
So I'm a trophy hunter. That means if I shoot a big, nice trophy, he's going on my wall. I'm gonna eat him. If he walks out
You're
in
gonna
front of
laugh
me,
at this. Hold on.
I keep all the antlers. Like I have little
Oh, I do
3
too.
pointers that like my dogs
Dude,
chew on
if
them.
I kill the deer, dude, he's
I'm using
yeah,
the stuff.
exactly.
Like I've got like on all my coffee tables, and you decorate, and you got your little candle. I've got one candle that's circled with like little small forks and shit. But a lot of them did. Like the one I shot, he's got like literally, it's like a 4-pointer, but I'm talking like that big. Now it was a big deer, but
Yeah.
it was small. And
Everybody starts somewhere.
I thought he was a monster.
Well,
I
to
thought
you,
he was
he
a
was.
monster.
At the
No,
time-
whenever I shot him,
Oh,
I didn't see
yeah.
his
I've
horn.
had those
The
too.
way he sounded and the way he took off, and when I knew because it was just sun coming up, and I caught him out the corner of my eye. I knew it was a deer, obviously, but I couldn't see his head. I could only see his body, and I could tell it was a buck. He's just, and I could hear him, and I shot him. And he ran 50 yards and left a blood streak that was about 12 inches wide. And I was like texting probably Willie and Randy, like, oh, it was Thanksgiving morning. I was like, yeah, I got this deer.
There's something about that weekend,
Yeah.
man. I saw
Damn it.
one of
I'll find
the
it.
more mature deer that I was hunting last year, and I've started seeing a pattern of when those, everybody says, oh, it's November 2nd, and then everybody else says, no, it's November
Oh, yeah.
11th,
Yeah,
First week.
whatever it may be. My opinion on it is, and it just may be because of how it portrays, but Veterans Day until Thanksgiving weekend is like my time
It's
to want
hot,
to go.
yeah.
I love that day.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see,
Buddy
yeah,
with his
yeah,
doe.
yeah.
Yeah.
but I see more mature deer on their feet during day like Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh.
Always have.
Yeah.
Is Bragg's closed?
I don't- it could be- it could-
no,
No,
it's open for
it's
Thanksgiving.
It's open
Clean
Thanksgiving.
up.
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's post cleanup through the week.
Oh God, I hate that week.
Yeah, we used not be able to hunt at all.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you
Well,
could
then they
sense.
just shut it down for rifle. No, because
Yeah.
it was open for rifle.
That makes
this year,
sense.
'cause
Though. I
hunted-
mean, you've got a
No,
bunch of dumb soldiers
I
out in the
wasn't hunting
woods.
on Fort Bragg. You can hunt gun on Thanksgiving.
I don't think you can Wednesday, but you can start back hunting Thursday.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe because I've gun hunted on Fort Bragg on
Yeah.
I
Thanksgiving.
mean, I'm glad we
Yeah,
can
you
hunt
can go
during
and hunt
post cleanup,
Thanksgiving
but
Day.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Just
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
Wednesday prior because that's post cleanup.
Yeah,
And-
post cleanup
yeah.
shuts it all down
a
to
bunch
just
of
bow.
Joes who are just you just have a whole unit out there in the woods going trying to pick up
Hey,
dunnage
and
stuff
that's something
ammo.
that you can
So that's
go ahead.
dangerous.
That's
Yeah.
something that I'm going to go ahead and jump in here since wildlife thinks that we're always hating on them. It's because of the wildlife people that you can hunt bow
Yeah.
during post
Oh, it's
cleanup.
they'll
bow
be
only,
there.
right?
No, what I'm saying is
Yeah,
they
they
used to
advocated
they
for
used
it.
to yeah they used to close it down to hunting altogether. So they advocated and got it to where we could hunt. But if it was up to the fucking people that run Bragg, we
wouldn't deer hunt
we'd
at
all be hunting shoulder to shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In one little area because officers, I don't know anything about military officers, and if you're an officer, no offense, you probably know this about your own race of people that are in the military. But
race.
yeah, they're like their own.
It is an
breed.
old. It's a class. It
It's
really
it's a
is.
class, and the thing about a military officer, I don't want to get too far down it, but their career depends on their OER. Okay, if your OER is just vanilla, you ain't never gonna make colonel and all that. You've got to have some shit on there. So when you show up to an area and you take command, when you leave, you better have changed something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if you had, 5 good commanders prior to that, and there's nothing
it.
worth changing, oh well, something's got to change. And when it comes down to, we have this issue with people getting shot during hunting season. If I'm not a hunter and
Close
I'm a
American
clear,
Trail.
hey, close down hunting. No more hunting on Fort Bragg.
He was a thick boy. Now that I think about it, though. Oh, sorry. There's that picture of that deer looking at me in the sand. I wish we could pull up pictures.
Jonathan's
but-
laughing at you. You shouldn't even.
No,
even
I-
entertaining shooting
no,
that.
man, no. What I thought about as soon as you said he's a thick boy, his buddy Friday's like, that's got to be at least a 140.
Oh God.
That
What-
damn deer ain't
It's a
100.
120.
But I mean,
I would almost guarantee he wouldn't go 120.
That was matter
that's
of
a lot
fact,
of meat on him, though. I mean,
Matter of fact,
yeah.
that
Oh,
was,
yeah.
that's Steve
He's
Randall.
healthy.
That's Steve Randall. I don't know if you know him or not. He's,
No, but he's showing everybody your deer bud. So.
Who, Steve Randall?
yeah, I didn't say it was mine. Didn't I say Stevie?
No, I said
This
he's
is
showing
Steve?
off your deer.
Yeah. He sent me this picture, and he's always fucking with me. He's like, "Oh, you're out surfing." He's still hunting Bragg. He's coming back.
Did he leave?
Yeah, he moved out west. I don't know exactly where. He's a dentist in the Army, but now he's a dentist civilian, so he's clocking high dollars.
So he comes back.
He
to
just
hunt rabbit.
bought. He just bought a side by side.
Yeah, it is.
For elk hunting. Like he's gonna do it up now that he's paid his dues and he's making his money good on it. But he's coming back to Bragg for 10 days. That's how good Bragg is.
Bragg is. It is
dude.
awesome.
And
man.
Stevie kills deer now.
Well, I'm
He
sorry,
don't-
Liberty.
He
Liberty
kills.
is
It's
awesome.
not Liberty.
I know.
There is no place in North America that is as good a deal as Fort Bragg is.
No.
What is the okay? Did that go up on the dues? I remember
Campbell.
last time.
Campbell is pretty hot.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's friggin' military. It's active duty preferenced.
Campbell is.
Yes.
Oh.
If I'm not
I don't know.
mistaken.
I've never hunted there. I
it's-
know you can
'cause
kill
it
as many
used-
does as you want.
It
though.
used to be a call-in system.
Or
That's where
sometimes.
big tall Jeff came from. Bird guy Jeff,
Yeah.
quail and stuff with wildlife.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
he came from. But it used to be call-in, active duty, and then it went retired. And then if it didn't fill up, which it always did, then they'd let civilians in.
Yeah.
Bragg is just y'all go hunt for. Is it $50 or $60?
It was
is it now?
$60
But
last
if
year.
you're a disabled vet, it's free.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. But you know what? Though we were talking about that today.
Oh, should I just? I don't want to.
I can get now that you're a disabled vet, you can get the the lifetime.
a lifetime hunting license.
I'll
gonna pay.
probably never have one.
Why?
Because it's too much of a pain. I'm not. It's a full-time job to get all this free shit. They're like, oh, look,
Yeah.
I could go to the beach. Look,
Go to work and
I
make
pay,
it
yeah,
just be done
I
with
pay $5 an hour to park at Wrightsville Beach. If I get the plate on my car, I can park for free. You know how much money that would save me? But I don't have the 3 hours to go sit with people breathing on me. You know what I mean? So
Or
what
his
I'm-
buddy says the pores.
the pores. He's
like, I can feel the pores rubbing off on me.
This is jokes, okay? Everybody's gonna think I'm some
no, this
snooty-
entire podcast is a
but-
giant joke. If you haven't figured it out by now.
No, it ain't. We go, hey, there's some good information
Well, I
on
mean,
here, but
when we talk about
I
like
just
stuff like
don't
that,
see
yeah.
the like. I know people that their whole year. No offense to anybody, okay? This is just me, how I think, and you can not like me for it.
What is that?
That their whole year's planned out based on what they can get for free because they're a veteran. Like I can go to IHOP on this day and free meal. I'm going to eat my lunch here. I can get this for free. I can get that for free. I can like it's just a lot of hours to get this free shit. I don't have it. I'd rather just pay the fucking fine.
In which, I mean, if you're like that, you're like that. But me as a civilian and growing up here, dude, y'all go get every damn thing you can for free.
Yeah, no.
But still, back
I
to
just
the-
wish they would make it easier to get the free shit.
But
should
even
be
with
a
the
little
fee,
easier.
$50,
That's
$60.
what Ken Bernard and with Patriot Hunts and the guy with my buddy Brett helps out with the Fallen Outdoors.
In money.
Them two dudes make it easy for y'all to go do some really cool stuff.
Now,
Hell, I paid $500 last year to zero my rifle
here's the thing about
Why?
another thing.
because I couldn't find anywhere to zero my rifle, and the only place I could go was the range complex. And in order to use it, you got to become a member at $45 a month. So I signed up so I could zero my rifle and get back to hunting. I haven't been back yet.
Why didn't you call a local?
Nobody, no, they don't know anybody. Everybody I know that's got land, they're stingy with it. You know what I mean?
Man.
I don't know anybody well enough to be like, hey, can I come? I don't know where to.
That's the only thing I wish.
Where am I going to go? You live in a neighborhood.
I wish that
I didn't know you that well then.
Yeah,
man.
we got plenty of places
Wow.
to go. That's no problem.
But I needed
at
to
all.
go now.
Back
Like
in the good old days, we used to go.
my
right on the
rifle was
side of
not
chicken.
zeroed, and it
Yeah.
was the fucking rut, bro. And I was like, I
'Cause you
needed
should
to
be
go.
bow hunting. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
That was a sign
You
from
can
the
zero that
hunting
in your
gods.
I will be bow hunting up until the first day of rifle. I still bow hunt during rifle, but I
So-
like rifle hunting, man. I just like killing things.
that is still a good, $50-$60 for a pass for the year. I think it's
It's
still
great.
50, but
For
I don't
how many
complain about
it.
thousands of acres?
Yeah.
Wait a minute,
I-
you're telling me that you not only can you get a free hunting license, that they'll let you hunt on Fort Bragg for free? Why would they do that?
no, it's free for disabled vets to
But
get
why
your
would
pass.
but
Your
to hunt on,
permit?
Yes.
to hunt on Bragg? Why would they do that?
They should not do that.
They shouldn't do that.
That's gonna.
That
I don't
screws
think-
them. It's
yeah.
$60.
But still,
If you're a disabled
is.
vet,
Yeah.
Pay your $60.
I'm gonna say it right now. If you're a disabled vet, I don't care if you're 40%, 100%, you lost both
Yeah.
legs, you're
So
missing an
so
arm.
delicious, man. I'm not
Pay
even
for
gonna-
your goddamn $60.
that
that
$60
goes into the
goes
fun. If you got, how many people do you reckon are hunting Fort Bragg or disabled vets?
90% of them.
Then they're not paying.
Yeah,
Come on now,
I don't
hey.
think they did that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Did
That
you
one-
hunt for free last year?
Yeah.
You cheap ass motherfucker.
No, because they told me
Don't
they
give
said
them $120.
Man,
I'm gonna
you're
give him-
Come,
I'd
you're
love
gonna
to
come
say-
gut grass with me tomorrow.
All right, bet.
We're gonna make $60.
All right.
Buy your permit.
If you're a disabled veteran, the state of North Carolina
I wouldn't mind helping
gives you
wildlife
a
out there,
free
Take the state.
take the state free one. Okay,
Pay brag.
go get your free parking. I'm going to do that. I'm just too lazy to do it.
Hey, wildlife, put a chip jar out at your office.
Yeah. But if you're a disabled veteran,
That's a good
you are
idea.
hunting
Yeah.
60,000 acres of prime hunting land. Pay your $60.
For
You know what?
$60.
Get your free pass so you feel good about that you got your
Well,
free
here's-
veteran
okay, here,
shit.
here, no,
but
no.
give the fucking wildlife $60.
Here's the thing, though.
Donate.
Shame
I
on
didn't
you.
know it was, and they'll tell you
Buddy's
no.
pissed.
They won't let you pay. They won't let you pay. They didn't let me pay because when I went there to go do my stuff, I'm like, how much do I owe y'all? He's like, no, you're free here. He's like, no, we won't. They don't care.
Okay.
But
Who's the guy
anyhow,
who helps out up there?
there's a couple of them.
He posts on the page every now and again. Webster.
Yeah. I don't know him. I've never met him.
I know the
he,
young
just,
guy Chris.
he just started this year, I think.
That's
Yeah.
cool as hell what he's
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
You know, because I mean that allows.
As long as you ain't in there snitching.
Yeah, he may not. He may not tell nobody anyhow. Y'all ever look through those books, the old Polaroid picture
Yeah,
books?
sometimes. Yeah.
Are they,
I'm
are
gonna
they
check
still
them out,
there?
man.
I don't know. I remember. You know what you're talking about. They were on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go through them, man. It's like reminiscent to me because that's when I was a kid.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
your
There's
childhood,
pictures
man.
of my dad in there, my
Aw.
Uncle Randy.
I had friends that used to hunt at the
That's
Turners. They used to go out there before school. The kid would come to school in orange, like an orange jumpsuit. 'Cause they were hunting on Fort Bragg.
Yeah,
They're like, "You want to go with us?" I'm like, "Man, it's freaking November. I ain't going out there."
before I went to Jack Britt, I used to take my bass boat to school. I used to take my dog when we get done duck
Yep.
hunting in the morning.
That's
My
it.
dog would sleep. At Floor McDonald, he was a headmaster. He wasn't a principal. He had a fancy name. He'd sleep in the headmaster's office. Yeah, so it was
What school?
Floor McDonald. It was in Red Springs.
Is that a private school?
Yeah,
Oh, never heard
a
of it.
very small one.
Oh.
My brother graduated.
Was it
from
a
there.
Christian based or?
No,
No.
not really. But it was
I
a
went to
cool
few
place to
private
go.
schools. Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool because like I'm gonna keep calling Bragg. I don't care. Like it's Bragg, dude. Like it's hard for me to say Fort Benning because Fort Benning is like Mecca for me, and I can't call it. What the hell is it now? I mean, I think it's
What's
cool.
the name? Is Riley Rhodes not Riley Rhodes?
Well, Riley was a
anymore?
Confederate general, but there's also a Riley that was in the 82nd, so they could have just left it
I
and
was
changed
on,
it.
I
Yeah.
went to Fort Bragg today to get my
It's,
ID card.
something weird.
And I looked at I know where to go. It said go to Pope Air Force Base, which I'm not very familiar with, but I know I go down Honeycutt and then I make a right on Riley and then I go that takes you. And I'm looking at the GPS and it says take a right on Rock
Rock
Merritt, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, this is taking me away. I've
He
never
was a
been.
bad motherfucker.
I never heard of Rock Merritt, so I'm not paying attention. I get down, it says make a right on Rock Merritt. I know Riley's coming up, so I'm like, this thing is. So I went ahead and made it. When I made the turn, you're at Normandy, and I knew where I was at, and I'm like, oh, it dawned on me like it must have been a Confederate general name.
Long Street's no longer completely.
No, it's just long-
Street.
yeah,
it's
long
long and
street.
then abbreviated street.
So it's just
Long.
the street is called Long,
and then street ST. Yeah, it's a long street.
I didn't know
Yeah.
until I was in my 30s. Somebody asked me, you know who Long Street's named after? I said, I don't know, General Long. He was like, close. General Longstreet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know that.
which General Longstreet was actually he was a pretty forward-thinking dude. He just ended up being in the South when the war broke out, and that's what a lot of people understand. Like, here comes the history guy.
Same thing with Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee didn't support secession. He didn't want. He didn't support the
He was
Confederacy.
offered a commission in the U.S. Army. He refused it because he said, whichever way Virginia goes, that's the way I'm going to go.
Because back then you were a
you
Virginian.
were loyal to your state,
You were
dude.
North
First, you're loyal to your
Carolinian.
county. First of all,
War
Yeah.
was business then, just
yeah.
like it is.
So,
now.
but it's whatever, man.
Yeah.
But Rock Merritt was. I looked it up because I was like, who the hell is this dude? I'm going to look him up. I'm like, it's cool that they're naming it after dudes who are significant to the 82nd. He was a World War II dude. He did something cool on D-Day, and he was just a shit-kicking old man. But I didn't know Riley because I'm like, I looked up Riley, and Riley was actually a general. There was a
What are they
General
going to do
Riley.
about Murchison Road?
I don't know who was Murchison.
He was a Confederate general or colonel. He was a Confederate.
well, yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know that.
Riley was the commander of Fort Fisher in Wilmington, the last commander of Fort Fisher,
Yes.
which was they called the Gibraltar of the South. That's how badass that place was. When the war ends in April 1865 and Wilmington doesn't fall till January 65,
Whatever
that's a
happened
badass
to
fort. Anyhow,
America is supposed to be, to me, when I think about
here we
America.
go on the politics.
Yeah,
It's okay.
We're not getting in that.
No,
Oh,
it's
well.
not politics.
Yeah.
When I think about America, I think about somebody saying, you know, we shouldn't name that street after a Confederate general because of blah, 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 and getting told, go fuck yourself. To me, that's America. What I don't know where I live anymore, where it's like,
Oh, it's not like that any longer.
No.
It's conformed.
like shut your crybaby ass up.
But you know, it's refreshing because like I talk to I hate to say it, but like the two generations below us are kind of screwed. Like the ones that are teenagers now and the ones that are young adults as far as the sensitivity. But the ones who are right below us are starting to come out of it. Like maybe shit's gone too far and we need to kind of like be like, whoa.
Well,
but
it's a cycle.
You know what I
yeah,
see
it's a
happening?
cycle. It's a cycle.
I said this the other day. I think that here's this, and this is just something that popped into my head.
Let's see how many viewers we're losing.
Yeah, I was about to say they're probably gonna start.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
people
No, we're still
I think
good.
a lot of people nowadays are saying, "Okay, I'm a musician. I'm a rapper. Let's just go with rap." Okay, because that's where I've noticed it. I can't make any money. I'm trying. I'm not making no money. No one's coming to my shows. No one's downloading my shit. No one's following my stuff. And then I write a rap about Donald Trump being the man and America and boycott this. And now I'm #1 on the Billboard charts. You see what I'm saying? That boycott Target song. Did you even hear about that? It was like the #1 song.
No.
That was that guy. What's his name? McDonald or whatever.
No, it's somebody. Tom
Oh,
McDonald.
it's just like some weird random.
Tom
It was some random
McDonald.
dude that does music videos in his house.
Right. So
Yeah,
I
and now
think
he's
maybe
like,
he
yeah.
was an artist that wasn't getting nowhere and was like, well, let me cash in on this
It's
this
cool to
America
be, it's cool
thing.
to be just out there.
So it used to be cool to be against that, and now we went so far to the left that people are coming in, and like Jason Aldean's song was #1, the #2 song, Tom McDonald and Adam Calhoun.
Yeah, Tom McDonald. Yeah.
Or
that guy.
something about. I tell you what, if you listen, I posted it today, not because I'm a big fan of it, but it's listen to the words. I can't believe that J. Edgar Hoover's not crawling out of his fucking grave,
Yeah.
you know, to damn shut them down, man. Because it's almost like we don't carry these bullets for hunting. That's the gist of the song.
Really?
Yeah. And it's the #2 song behind Jason Aldean.
Well, I mean,
It's just funny, man. It's a carnival.
sometimes people, like we said the other day when he was like, "Let's talk about the world," and we're like, "Fuck the world." They don't want to hear about that anymore.
I mean, I agree. Like,
People are sick of it.
yeah,
You know
I think
what I
I really like. I think everyone just wants to kind of. I'm in the mood now where like it's pointless for me to even speak how I feel because it's not going to change, man. Like it's not. We can go through it, and we can endure it, but
I
quit
think it's
worrying about
impossible not to talk about your life and your situations and what happened without the irony of what's going on in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying I don't want to sit here and dissect it, okay? But here's the thing: I believe that the majority of our country has been hypnotized, not through like TikTok, and not through that sounds crazy to say, but through decades of programming on TV and news media and all that. So it's gone so far now that people that don't agree with each other will not even be friends anymore.
Oh yeah.
Politically, based on the news, not even politics, because most people
yeah.
don't know shit about politics. They just know red, blue, CNN, Fox, OAN. You know what I mean? And then they just know right away.
I was thinking about that earlier, man. It's crazy how people have been conditioned to like, well, if you don't believe me or you don't believe in what I believe
Right.
in, we can't be friends, dude.
that's
I don't
crazy.
give a
Or,
damn.
or they want to let you know. Like, I don't understand being in a bar in a airport. Okay,
airport bar.
you're sitting there.
Yeah.
That's the most random place.
random place. I
It's
mean,
a
it
random
really
place.
is.
You're sitting in a bar, and the people around you that you meet, they can't help it. They will. Hey, how you doing? Where you going? Blah, blah.
They have to tell you.
They will work that into it. They'll have the news on 2 different channels, and what do you think about this? God
That's
damn it.
crazy. Yeah.
And then, like, if it's a blue guy, he'll say something like, supposed to agree with him, like, "Oh, I can't believe people like this motherfucker because Trump's on TV." And I'm sitting there like, dude, whatever happens, like, I think I told this story once before, but I asked my grandfather one time about some people. He lived in Archeryville. He was the chief of police. He grew up in Archeryville. You know Archeryville, small town. And there was I think there was a family
House of
there
Autry?
that
I like that stuff.
I think their last name was like Goldwitz or Goldbaum or something. And I asked if they were Jewish, and my grandfather said, "I don't know." And I was like, "Well, don't you know everybody in this town?" He's like, "Yeah, but religion, politics, those 2 things that we don't."
Yeah, that's the 2 things.
It's impolite.
Yeah.
No,
It
anyway.
does
I
not
really-
matter.
It doesn't.
It used to be. It used to be impolite.
To me, it does not. I could literally care less. But anyhow,
Back to hunting.
yeah.
As long as it doesn't interfere with hunting, man, or surfing. I'm cool.
I
Well-
won't let it interfere with hunting. Hell, hunting's what gets me away from all that.
Yeah, that's.
surfing. When are you gonna come out? Do you want to try surfing, man? Can we get you on a surfboard?
Are you sure, dude?
Like, I mean, we'll
What-
get you.
what
Don't
is
y'all
it?
go in the wintertime?
Oh, fuck
Well, yeah, but it's
dude.
not wintertime.
You know what sucks about here? That's the only that sucks, and I'm gonna have a conflict this year because, like I said, I always bring up my surgery when I talk about surfing because it really did. you know, everybody has their own concept of what is their keeping them behind in life and shit. And it may look on the outside like it's not a serious thing, but like my back injury like fucked me so bad in surfing this year. Anyhow, it got to the point where the last year before my surgery, like all I could do was hunt because I couldn't surf anymore. So I got really heavy into hunting again. I realized I loved hunting more than I thought I did. But the unfortunate thing about North Carolina is if you're a surfer and a hunter, which that's how we met actually. The best waves of the year are gonna be in that during hunting season,
during the rut,
and that's a hard choice, dude. Because like,
it was easy for me last year.
Buddy made a good point. He's like,
you out a September hurricane, and then once that's over, piss on all that.
Joshua has a comment too. He said Joshua
fucks.
It's fucks. Just call him fucks.
That's his name. Fucks.
That's why we can't get sunflowers on the dove fields. All those free permits.
Yeah. You know what? We need to make that. We need to make that a charge. I guarantee you that majority of the people that hunt that post on this page, the retired guys, most of them are disabled veterans. I mean, nowadays, just about every veteran's going to be a disabled veteran. If you're hunting on Fort Bragg, man, get the free shit. I know it's like a win for you. You got it. I got my free shit. I got my veteran parking spot, but pay for. Just give the $60 over.
Yeah, why don't to a dove hunt?
How about this,
the
man?
The QDMA branch, man. Them dudes, like we started off when Teddy Harris started. Bennett and myself used to. No exaggeration. I mean, not all of them, but I guarantee you, between myself, Bennett, Teddy Harris, Eddie, Don, Old Hutchison, Greg was in on it. Dude, we hung hundreds of those food plot signs, and went in and like reclaimed them.
Wow.
We used to have to use a GPS and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They were doing fundraisers and events and different things like that through donations, having like banquets. All that money was going back to Bragg.
Where does the $60 go to, though? That's going to be the important thing.
I think if I'm not mistaken, it goes to like the trail camera surveys, the planning of the food plots.
So it doesn't get collected, sent to Washington, and then sent back.
I don't know.
Okay,
we don't.
Yeah,
because if that's the case, then fuck it. But if it stays local, then pay. And I am a disabled veteran. I can go get it for free, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to just say one thing on microphone. And not only that, I probably have to fill out a piece of paper. I probably got to fucking stand in line. And I probably got to wait. I'm not going to do it.
Spelling is not his strong suit.
We try to keep the chat. I'd like to, since we only have we don't have like 100,000 people tuning in. When you're on a live stream, you got like 30 million.
Oh yeah.
Try to get to the comments.
It'd be nice if we did.
I know.
We have Dom Reloaded that asks, "How's the shooting club on base?" I don't know. I haven't really used it. Now this is the one thing I wish, because
McKellar's.
Maybe I should shit in one hand and wish in the other, see which one fills it first. Now at Polk, they had an amazing range, and it was like $15 and $5 each time. And you went there, and you had like a 2-hour limit, and it was an outdoor range, and all the hunters could go, and you could zero. I think it's like, I haven't used it. Have you all used the On Post? Have you used it? I went in there one time, I think, to shoot. I was gonna just look. It's like you have to join, and I think it's like $40 a join, and I think it's like still when you go in there, it's still like $20 each time. I could be wrong. It's an outdoor range, and I think it goes up to like 100 yards or something like that. But
yeah, I don't know. I use the range complex. I like it.
Yeah, that is one hard thing about around here is zeroing. That's why I mostly do bow hunt.
Speaking of which, I think we need to go zero, because I can pay like $10 and bring a guest. I need to use that. $500 per year. I've been there one time.
Yeah, to shoot my bow.
No, everybody get your guns and let's go out there.
Do y'all find your rifles are off?
Yes, always.
What do y'all do to
No,
not that much off. But like my
really, I haven't been touched in 10 years.
No, I bought a new scope. That's what it was.
That's different.
Yeah.
I mean,
what did I say in the story, that my scope was off? I don't know if I clarified. I bought a new scope. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Because y'all are still. I mean,
No, they can. You can bump them, especially if you're like me.
Yeah, coming up and down the tree.
Look, when I climb the tree, with my climber, I yoke the rifle around my neck, and then I climb the tree. So that thing bumps.
I use a line.
Like my hunting rifle is literally a tool. I clean it, it stays clean, and it works.
Everything I have,
but it's scratched up, and I'm not like, ooh, I gotta like bring it up on I'm not hunting with a $2,000 rifle. I'm hunting with a Ruger American.
I use a drop line. I don't climb up with it. I only do this because I'm kind of I have a phobia, because when I was in Louisiana, we were hunting some hogs one day, and we were going through some heavy brush, and my dumbass had it slung on my back, and freaking it wasn't
Did it
unsafe.
go off?
Oh, it went off, and it went right by my thigh.
That
dude.
happened to
And it
that
scared
happened
the
to my
shit out of
cousin.
me, dude. Yeah.
He was taking the gun.
Okay, I don't climb with it loaded.
Yeah.
That's ignorant.
Well, I mean,
Sorry.
yeah, no,
I don't know if it's loaded. I don't know if it's loaded or not.
I don't
Typically,
put one
it's
in the
not,
pipe till I'm
no.
in my tree stand.
When
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
up there,
yeah.
that's when I put one in there.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
But I use it ever since
But it
then.
don't matter. My safety's a thumb switch. It ain't getting.
Mine is too.
It's not going to get knocked
I shoot a
off.
Browning A bolt.
I have a what
Mine's
do I have? A
thumb.
Remington 700. Yeah, that's what.
Which does it have? The thumb or the tang?
It's got the tang.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's different. the
Remington-
tang is.
I
Remington's
really
got a
like-
Tang,
I
and
have a-
Winchester does too.
Yeah.
I have a Savage. I bought my son a Savage 243. My kids because it's smaller. It's like the carbine, but I really love that under the scope, that safety under the scope with the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sitting there and you can just do this real quick. But
I've got a Ruger Hawkeye
getting that scope zero.
243 wood, and it's got a Leupold scope. It's a beautiful gun, but I don't want to take it hunting because I don't want to get it all.
Gyms.
It's expensive
I go to gyms in Fayetteville, the pawn shop,
for pistol.
for zeroing my hunting rifle. I mean, it's 70 feet, so it's 25 yards, but you can get a zero shot at 25 yards if you know what you're doing.
You shoot
Yeah.
a 270, all you
Inch above center at 100
Yeah.
yards,
at
right?
270. They say
Or
if you
50
put
yards.
if you shoot it in a vise at 27 yards, dead on, that's a no hold from 0 to 300.
And at Bragg, let's be honest, you're not shooting across.
Yeah.
You're shooting close.
Dude,
and
you know
yeah.
how I zero my hunting
Most
rifle?
of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
I zero my
150
hunting rifle
Yeah.
100 yards, dead center.
Right.
That's it. I know if you want to zero it out to 300, you put it an inch above dead center. But I zero my hunting rifle like I hunt, and I have never even seen a deer that I was going to have a 150, 200 yard shot on Bragg. Maybe it's there, but all the deer that I'm shooting are inside 100 yards.
Yeah.
Hell, I shoot them further with my bow than I do
Yeah.
with my rifle. Because
Yeah.
I spend all season, bow hunting.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, they may open an area up that's not open all that often or something
I thought
like that.
I thought all areas were open to bow all the
That's
time.
what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
with a rifle.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
Josh Whitford sending me pictures of deer. Let's see what this is. But,
Oh, and Cam.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my son's watching too. Hey, Shane. I
Is
see
Josh
you.
is
What's up,
Josh still
Shane?
watching?
I don't know who's watching, but we got 6 viewers right now on YouTube. Could
Oh,
have more
nice.
wherever else we're at.
Hey, you know what I forgot to ask you to do when
What's
we
that?
started was go to when we started, you
Oh.
hit the share copy link and put it into Hunt Club Facebook, and then they could just say, "Oh, they're on," and click it, and it'll come right over. But
Oh,
we'll
shit.
do that next time.
Yeah, we got it.
I was gonna put it. I was telling you
me
earlier. Earlier, I was gonna let it go live in the Fort Bragg Hunt Club Facebook page, but then we don't get no YouTube views.
Yeah.
I
Well,
want them motherfuckers to click over and come over
we
and
can't
watch
do
the
both at the
views.
same time.
Yeah, but
It
if
gives
I'm
the
watching
Bragg
it,
credit, it doesn't give
Oh.
YouTube
yeah, if
credit.
I'm watching it on Facebook, I don't have to click over to YouTube, and then we don't get no views.
I honestly think we get more viewers on Facebook right now. But
Yeah, but it doesn't help
It
you
doesn't-
any.
yeah, it
There's
doesn't-
no.
It doesn't give you a YouTube help your algorithm.
Yeah,
all
with
that
with
good stuff.
YouTube, they go on. They don't just go on. Okay, so the gist of YouTube is subscribers and views. Now you can't monetize until you have 1,000
1,000
subscribers,
subscribers, yeah.
which you can buy. It's not even expensive. You can buy it, and then but what really gets you in the algorithm and gets you up on the thing is how much attention span is or time is spent. So if you've got a 2-hour long video, but you've got 1 million views with 1 minute average time, you're going to suck. But if you've got a 3-hour long and your average is say 30 minutes, that's actually good because not everybody sits down and watches something. It's like Joe Rogan. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast all the time, but it may take me 3 or 4 days to listen to a full
I
one.
enjoy the hell out of listening to that dude.
Yeah.
I listen.
He's got the best. He
Yeah.
he
You know who-
nailed it.
Yeah, he did. He
He
really did.
nailed it and
him
just-
and friggin' we were talking about him last time. Steve Ronnella's Meat Eater podcast.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
that's fun.
Have
That-
you realized how many views? Like I was looking through Facebook yesterday. His podcast had been on for 15, like recently uploaded under that. It had been on for 15 hours. It had a little over 21,000 views. And I was going back and looking at other stuff that'd been on for 3 and 4 days, and it was like 1.2 thousand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, that's crazy, man. He has a hell of a
He's
following.
very good, but the thing that sets Joe Rogan apart from everybody is Joe Rogan's podcast is not about hunting, but
He talks about hunting.
there's a lot of hunting on there because
Oh, yeah.
he has Ranella on and other
Yeah.
and Ted Nugent
Well,
and all that.
Ranella's who got him into hunting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Elk hunting's
you're
cool,
you,
man. I
look.
love it,
I
too.
listened to Joe Rogan one week. I had Ice Cube was on there, which was very informative. There were some psychologist. I don't even know his name. He just nailed the long form conversation. He talks to whoever he wants. He thinks he was watching a documentary about bees and thought that was amazing and had the beekeeper on there. Yeah. But that beekeeper woman, you think, oh, some beekeeper that's in Texas.
A lot of people.
There was like, I listened to that podcast for 3 hours and I was very interested in what goes into.
That's a very important insight.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
So Joe Rogan just nailed the long form conversation, whereas he doesn't have a genre.
No,
He's
he
probably
fits
one of the
with
most
everybody.
powerful media. Every time he opens his mouth and puts it on wax or on the internet,
Bites.
12 million people are listening to him. That's a lot of people. That's more than CNN, all of them put together.
You know who does awesome too is Jocko. Jocko's podcast is, and
he's all right,
Man,
but
he is too extreme.
Yeah,
for me.
same
He
thing
is.
with like Dan Bongino.
Like
Joe
that.
Rogan is political, but he's a political centrist. Like he's always like, yeah, this guy said, you don't remember when you said this, and well, wait a minute, now you're saying that, but you know, Dan Bongino and Jocko, they have like an agenda, and I just get tired of the.
Yeah,
and I do listen to it.
I get tired
do.
of hearing about them energy drinks.
Yeah, well, they're trying to monetize.
I listen to at the
Yeah.
end. This is what I listen to lately when I go surf because it gives me inspiration. I listen to the Mac v Sog podcast. You got a bunch of Vietnam vets that were in Mac v Sog, which is the first like special forces unit. And what those guys did is it's like, dude, it's almost unbelievable. But all these guys have been accredited. Like the shit they're talking about is legit. They're not just blowing smoke.
Yeah.
Like,
But even
it's
if they
insane.
are, it to me, I like hearing from the soldier stories.
that's-
Soldier stories are
stories-
always
yeah,
50%
but
bullshit.
that's
it's like
all-
a hunting
They're
story.
still,
That's all I listen to,
They're
though.
still kick ass though.
Yeah.
Man.
I
Like,
listen to the part where the veterans talking, and then because the way that Jocko's podcast goes, he'll have the guest talk for like an hour and a half, and then he goes into his energy drink spill. At that point, I cut it off though.
You should try this.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
But
They got to make money, man.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of like we were talking today about Ben Gravy. I know you probably don't know who he is, but you know who he is by chance?
No.
if he did, that'd be kind
Well,
of cool.
he just started his own board company now, his own like surfboard. He's a surfer.
So who's Ben Gravy? Let's explain. He was a dude that was a burnout in the like 90s. He was a kid who was trying to become a pro. Then he got into heavy alcohol, kind of burned out. But recently, not recently. I've been following him since he came on the internet.
He could have been a pro surfer, but he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So he was like, he did YouTube in the early days, like jumping, getting pushed through a flaming box,
Like jackass shit.
like jackass stuff. And then, anyway,
What took off was he said he was going to surf every wave. He was going to surf a wave in every state in the 50 states on a foam board. Because foam surfboards were kind of always like lame in surfing.
In 50 states.
And he went and surfed a wave in 50 states.
He surfed a wave in 50
He found a
states.
wave in every state. He found river waves. He found wake waves. He went up to
wakes
Alaska.
from a ferry
Yeah.
boat.
And the dude is killing it. Like
Yeah.
I've watched him growing. Like he's just now he has his own. Yeah. So he originally he only rode foamy boards, like foam surfboards, which that's like always been in surfing. That's always been considered like the lame beginner,
Like shooting with a
kook
crossbow.
board. Yeah.
Hunting with a crossbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what in hunting? What's the lame stuff? Like I don't even know.
Sitting over a pile of corn with a crossbow.
That's not lame.
Yeah.
It's not. You're right, though, it's not.
Neither is foam surfboards.
Exactly.
I think I love mine. I take mine
I
with me all
think
the time.
whether you're surfing, hunting, fishing, beekeeping, or whatever, as long as you enjoy doing it.
You're
who gives a
right,
shit
Jonathan.
what
But
anybody
we're
thinks
men,
about
and we
it?
have to tear each other down. That's just what we do.
See, I'm the
We
opposite.
gotta
It's
hate.
like
Do you see this
and I were-
mustache? You know why I grew this mustache?
You look like Hitler.
But you know why I grew it? Because I was talking shit about him when he had just the mustache. I didn't really talk shit about it. He would mention it, and I'd be like, yeah, you need to shave that. And then he shaved it, and then I was shaving, and I was starting to grow a little mustache. And I looked at Jody, and I said, I should grow this mustache because we're going to go on, see if he notices. And he never noticed because it's not very lavish.
I noticed it like last time we were or a couple days ago. I noticed.
But and it irritates the shit out of me because my facial hair is so thick that it curls back in and it pokes my lip. But we got to hate on each other, man. It's just what we do. But Ben Gravy, you watched his videos.
Yeah.
You enjoy his video content. How many years have you watched his videos?
Since 2015,
Damn.
What have you bought from him?
nothing.
So he's just doing all that for free. That's why when I enjoy somebody's stuff, I will support them. So he got a surfboard. He doesn't even make a surfboard I'll ride, but I kind of feel obligated. Like I need to buy
He has his own
one.
brand now. He used to be partnered with Wave Bandit or Catch Surf,
Catch
which is like
Surf,
the big.
And I
he
did
has his
have
own
one of
model,
those, yeah.
and it's crazy because like.
And I bought a wetsuit through his thing, a Hyperflex.
But he came out and said that he's going to start his own board company now, Fiberglass boards. Is it fiberglass? Boards?
Fiberglass.
Yeah,
They might be epoxy. I don't know.
But it's just, I mean,
I just feel like
the dude
you should
is
support the guy
yeah.
if you watch his content.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Joe Rogan stuff, you know, there's no way he doesn't make anything, but
No.
he gets.
He backs some.
I
people.
I don't buy coffee from the store anymore. I got Black Rifle coffee, comes to my house every month, like
I love
8
that
boxes
stuff,
of it.
man. We don't ever get it because I never think about it.
Sign up for it.
Yeah.
You
It
you
does
save
good.
money. I did the math because I drink a lot of coffee. I probably drink 6 cups of coffee a day, so that's 6 pods a day. So you imagine how many
Damn.
boxes. And then Jody drinks a cup. My son drinks a cup of coffee every day. So we go through a lot of coffee.
Good God.
And rather than be smart and buy it by the beans, or you know, I like the Keurig system.
Yeah.
Keurig, however you want to say
What
it.
do you call it?
Keurig.
Keurig.
Buddy's
I don't
words.
know.
We really need to write down buddyisms.
It's starting to remind me of stuff of my dad. My dad's like that too. He has his own words for shit, and we correct him all the time. But he's still like turlet. He calls it a turlet
Yeah, I
paper.
say turtle.
Yeah, but anyway, I signed up for that, and I used Joe Rogan's
It's
code.
Yeah.
So he makes money, and I'm supporting Black Rifle Company, you know, coffee, because I was
Yeah.
watching Max Best videos. You know who Max
Matt
Best is?
Matt Best.
Matt
Max
Matt Best. I know who he is, and I watch his
Who-
content.
who's the
I bought
real,
his T-shirts.
Yeah.
The Pew Pew Professional.
Who's the real monotone guy that interviews all like the operators?
Yeah.
Sean Ryan.
Sean Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the people he has
Yeah.
come on, but I don't really like him.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you.
I agree.
Let me tell you this.
Like I'm sure he's a kick-ass guy, but just
I don't
He's
enjoy
very-
his interviews because of that exactly.
Yeah.
He's a good guy, and all power to him.
he's got some kick-ass people that are giving books away
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
I'm like, good
Let me
God,
tell you something.
man,
You know,
why are you not?
You want to know what's funny? It's
are you
not
not
funny.
writing this?
It's sad. Is about a year before, probably 2 years before his podcast. Before I don't know when he started his podcast. I didn't get turned on to his podcast until like last year through TikTok. I was like, who the hell? I know this guy. Or I know who this guy is, you know. And
Yeah.
Two Lamb grew up in Fayetteville, and Jody knows him, and I'm like, who's this Sean Ryan guy? But I had the cigar channel. I do the cigar reviews for a couple of years, and I wanted to start a channel to interview cool guys. I call them cool guys, Delta Force guys, because I know a couple guys. My dad is one of the guys who started that Delta Force, so I could get legend Don Purdy. He's still alive. A lot of people in the military know who Sergeant Major
I know
Purdy is.
Purdy.
He's like my godfather. You know, I could get him on, and I wanted to do this because these guys, and there's some guys that will never do it. And as a matter of fact, some of the guys, the alumni, are starting to pull back from that because of this new sensation of doing interviews, because they took an oath that they would never admit, or you know, it's a secret.
Yeah.
And I know
professionals,
guys that
yeah.
are friends of mine that refuse to read the book Inside Delta Force. They won't read it because Eric Haney broke he broke the omerta. Like, and I try to tell them I understand that during your era, but like in my dad's era, we're talking about the 70s and the 80s. You have to tell those stories, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I was gonna join the Army in 2001, early 2001. And I was going to take some I was signed up as a 25 Victor photographer. I needed a job.
Could you see?
Look, I was
Buddy's
already
over there telling the how you do votes.
but check this out. No matter where a photographer goes, he's got air conditioning, whether it's
that's
heat
true.
or AC.
Oh, they're taken care of, yeah.
So,
And you're on your own.
and I had 2 kids, and I was 23 years old, 24, and I needed 23 or 24, and I needed some money. I needed a job, and I read Inside Delta Force before it even came out. It was called Behind the Wire. Yeah, and it was the editor's cut, and my dad got it because he kind of helped, and he's in the book. And I read it, and as I read this book from like midnight until like 7:00 in the morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. And then 9/11 happened.
Oh gosh.
Like 2 days later, 9/11 happens, and I'm like, oh, we're definitely going to war. Now I'm in the National Guard, and I'm like, I'm already signed up as 25 Victor. And then I went down and I said, I'm not going as a 25 Victor. I'm 11 Bravo, Ranger School, all that shit. And they were like, nah, you already signed up. We can't. I said, this is my second rodeo, dog. I know that the first time you swear in, that's just like lickies and chewies. That's not real. When you go back to MEPS and you swear in and then you ship out, that's the real one. That's the one they hold you to. And I had to make a few phone calls on that one.
I just enjoy that stuff, man, because dude, I mean, in all honesty, man, and just like y'all, when you when you sign up, dude, you dedicate your life to taking care of us, in a sense.
Kind of.
But
Yeah.
to me, it's more kind of glory and glamour because I couldn't do it. I tell my wife all the time, it's my biggest regret. The only regret, really. I don't have regrets in life. I'm not that type of person. I do regret not going into the military.
It's funny because
Yeah, and you should.
Yeah.
And only because you're sitting amongst two motherfuckers that did.
well,
Yeah.
And if I was you, I'm not saying this to be like talking shit. This is how I grew up. This is why I joined the military. We ain't protecting your freedom. We went to Iraq and Afghanistan for money, for big corporations to make a lot of money.
Yeah,
But we
I
still
understand
exist.
that. Like
See, that's
where
Buddy and I did.
Where I just said war then, as it is now, it's still
all
much
a military-industrial
but
complex.
the way
But
But the way
same
I grew
time-
up, my grandfather would tell me about the people in his town that he grew up around, and so this and that, and he would speak almost downwardly towards the guys that could not go. They wanted to go. There were people that killed themselves during World War II because the military wouldn't take them, whether it be flat-footed or sleepwalking, whatever the reason is, they couldn't get in.
Yeah.
They would commit suicide because now when everybody comes back, they have to walk amongst the men that went, you know what I mean? And that was kind of ingrained in me as a young
a lot
young
of people
man.
don't know this, but Japanese. What is Japan known for during World War II? What's the one thing that comes to mind when you think of Japan? Japanese soldiers,
Kamikazes.
like brutality, right? Like
yeah.
murdering POWs.
The rape of Nanking.
In Japan culture, if you returned home, you went to war and you returned home because like you surrendered. You were fucked. Like you're grand. You're like the way they look at those guys is you're grand. Your family might be screwed for generations.
Yeah.
Like you basically could not go home. But I mean, I digress. But
Well, but that's more of a. I used to sell this to a friend of mine, and his dad was in Delta too, and he didn't go. And he's like, "Man, to hear you talking, what are you saying behind my back?" I was like, "I'm saying it to your face. It's not. I'm not saying it. I wouldn't like. It's not like a put down. It's just that's my mentality."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like I told y'all, the only it was stupid. I asked the recruiter. I was like, dude, I'm flat-footed. What the fuck does
you
that
are
mean?
really flat-footed.
I
That's
don't
a-
know,
we
you
need to
are
learn that.
flat-footed.
Yeah,
dude.
like I told you, I could run like the wind.
So you did not join.
Just could.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's true, man. Like because
I didn't know that was a thing.
My
still.
recruiter basically at high school when I was speaking with him, and you would have thought when I graduated in 2002.
oh, that's the prime time, man.
they'd have been like, yeah, we'll take anybody.
You
When
should
they-
you should have went back in 2006.
when they
and-
wavered,
Yeah.
like when no shit, this
They
really
wa-
happened.
they
They wavered
wavered.
criminals. Like
Yeah.
you could have felonies and join the
I
army. That's when
didn't know
neck
that.
tattoos.
By then, I was working at a bar,
Yeah.
making a shit ton of money. Going,
the patriotism.
But here's the thing about flat
flat.
feet.
Fuck y'all.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I looked up
Yeah.
the regulation. Like, you know what's weird? I shit you not. After you came in that last podcast and told us about that,
Oh, I promise you, it's true.
it came up on my phone. Like
'Cause
an
they're
ad
listening,
came up
bro.
about things that disqualify
that's
from the
shit,
army, and it
too.
said flat feet. And I looked it up, and the reason the army does not allow people with flat feet because it can contribute to spinal injuries.
Spinal injuries
Yeah.
that they will be that they will be responsible for in the surgeries.
Yep.
He basically told me that he said, you will become a multi-million-dollar liability.
Yeah.
And that was literally
That makes
verbatim
sense.
his
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
He's like, man, we can't train you to jump out of a friggin' plane. You crack your back, and we take care of
Well,
you.
let me tell you this, old son. If World War III breaks out and they start conscripting people, I will bend my feet into flatness. I ain't going.
Like I say, and you think,
I'm
like
done.
I said, you still to a certain point, you're protecting freedoms of some
Yes.
sort.
Is this a free country
it's a
to
system.
you?
It's a system in the
Well,
world.
I can do
though,
what I
man.
want.
Yeah.
To a
Can
certain
you?
extent.
Can you though?
But at the same time,
Buddy's always
I
gonna
just wanted
be
to
the
go.
devil's
I
advocate.
just wanted to go do some cool shit.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Well,
and you get to see the world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what may
It
not
was-
be everything you want to see, but you're still getting to see some stuff.
99%. No, I say 99. 95% of the time is boredom, but you don't remember it. When you look back on it, like there's some times where I watch some videos of these old timers that you go, I guess it's in Florida, Phantom Airborne. Have you seen that?
Where they jump out of the C-47.
They jump out of the C-47
Yeah.
and they're all like, it's just like the military. Stand by, get ready. And these old
Yeah.
timers, they're wearing like hula shirts. And I think back on times when I had some good times. That's what you remember is the good times. And you
Yeah.
meet some guys you ain't seen in 20 years.
You meet people in there, like there's a bond that I think one thing that veterans find lacking and why a lot of them commit suicide is that when you get out of the army, like it's weird. It's almost, I think everyone tries to explain this. There's a bond you get with people who are complete strangers, but y'all are put into these situations. You have to depend on each other. That you expect that in the civilian world when you get out, but it's just simply it exists in certain places. people in the civilian world are more close to family. That bond exists with family with a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it doesn't exist with just random people that you work with. Like, it's lacking there. So
Well, that's like after Vietnam. I mean, that's motorcycle gangs become a big thing.
Yeah,
Hell's
World War
Angels,
II actually, the bomber crews.
Yeah, the bomber
Yeah.
crews.
That's where Cuts
Vietnam,
come
But
from.
Vietnam really hit the outlaw aspect of
It did the outlaw motorcycle.
Yeah.
You kind of some types of rush. Anyhow, but yeah, that's
No, yeah, no, it's for sure. And another thing you get in the military too, which I think even in today's military, like on one hand, I would say I wouldn't want to be in today's military, but it's still good for an 18-year-old kid to go
Absolutely.
into
I needed that, man.
because we're from Fayetteville. You're from
guys
Santa
are.
Monica, but I'm saying
I'm from Santa Monica.
Wherever you're from.
Yeah, even
this-
worse, San Francisco.
I don't know
That's
how
where I was born and
diverse.
raised, but my roots are here.
I don't know how diverse it is where you're from, but here's so diverse.
it's a melting
Well, it's
pot
diverse
here.
as
You
hell
were
there, too,
never
yeah.
you were never in a situation in Fayetteville in school where it was you go to the white school. Now there may be more white kids at that school, but you were always in a mix and usually outnumbered in Fayetteville. I found, not that, and we kind of like when I would go to New York City in the summer times because my father's family's from Brooklyn, New York.
With your little Mets hat. I seen
Yeah,
that
yeah,
picture.
yeah.
And
I
on
would
the Brooklyn
spend,
Bridge.
like literally school would be
Ugly-ass
out.
kid, wasn't he?
No, I was a
You
fucking beautiful
weren't
kid. In that picture, I had a girlfriend, and her name was Brooke Story. That's how young I started. But I used to, school would get out.
That's off
I
camera.
would go to sleep, and I'd wake up going over the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, going into Brooklyn, and we spend all summer there. Christmas time, most of the time that was the mid '80s, and I'm living in the South. Okay, going to school and going up there. It was segregated up there. There were you didn't cross certain streets if you were white. Black kids didn't come in. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean?
And that's wild to think. You
And
would
my
think it'd be
grand,
opposite.
and my grandmother,
That's
like
like California too. Like it was not segregated, but no, you didn't go. Like you didn't fuck with.
It wasn't
like,
segregated on paper.
No,
no,
Yeah,
but it
but
was.
And that's
But
supposed to be the most
real
forward.
life.
And that's crazy. That's supposed to be the most forward-thinking places, according to.
Like I couldn't believe it because I would feel bad because in Brooklyn back then anyway, in the evening time, most people sat on their front stoop because you can see everybody. Everybody's kind of close. You know, the houses are, and you would talk and they'd be out watering their little 5x5 patch of grass and their flowers or painting their
Facebook
rocks.
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like
literal
The
Facebook.
community. Yeah.
and like two black kids would ride down the street on a bicycle, one on the pegs and everybody in the neighborhood would stop talking and stare. And if there were kids of equal age, they would chase them with bats. Like I seen people get their ass kicked. Now, the reason is because if we go into their neighborhood, whether it be a Puerto Rican neighborhood, because believe it or not, there were neighborhoods that were predominantly, now they were never 100%. You know what I mean? There was even Bensonhurst, all Italians, but it wasn't all Italians. There were Puerto Ricans that lived in there too. That matter of fact, that kid in the picture, Julio, he was half Puerto Rican. He lived next door to my aunt, and they lived in Bensonhurst. But
Okay.
He lived on the border.
the majority
the
of it
border
was.
Right in the middle.
And so if we went over there, the same thing would happen to us. But it was shocking. I didn't go over there because you stay in your block, and I was shocked, and almost felt, I don't know how the feeling I could describe it. I was embarrassed to be a part of this. I was ashamed of it. It scared me a little bit. Like, how could adults be prejudiced towards kids just because they're
man.
black?
Yeah, that's bullshit to me.
I couldn't, because, and I'm thinking, I'm coming from the South where you think this is, we're all
That's where we get accused of
like
it.
my
Yeah.
neighbors on both sides were black, and the white. It was just, I never noticed it as a kid,
Something my sister pointed out. My sister grew up, she's never left the West Coast. She's come out here, I think, 4 times in her life.
Your sister's cute too.
In the recent, she's probably watching, so yeah. But
Ding.
my brother-in-law is going to come kick you in the
I
shoot you in
know.
the throat.
I already said no. I didn't know she was married. Did I? I didn't know that. Sorry,
But,
bro. Sorry. I'm just giving him shit.
When my sister came
Your
out
wife
here,
is not attractive. I'm joking. Go ahead.
What?
when my sister, no, he's
Double-edged.
talking to my brother-in-law. When my sister came out here, when my dad had his strokes, she's like, Brennan, like everyone like holds the door for you and asks like, hey,
Southern
how you doing? And
hospitality.
it's not like that out
Or
west. man.
if you make
Everyone's-
eye contact with somebody, or
they
even
nod, yeah, say hey.
I'm
least nod.
just
Yeah.
nod,
Throw the finger
throw the
up,
finger
waving.
up.
Yeah.
You do that in New York City. Now, not everybody in New York City is rude. I mean, they're just not used to it.
Well, it's
They appreciate it. Whenever I would be like, yes, ma'am, they'd be like, oh, man, he's not from Brooklyn. Where are you
Yeah.
from? It was my accent, too.
Yeah,
but
but it's growing up out west, like I thought I knew what freaking like how do I explain this, man? California was a weird place to grow up in the 90s. Like, I'm glad I grew up there when I did,
Not
culturally
now.
wise. But now I don't even want to go back, man. I hate that state.
Brooklyn's not the same
I
either.
work for a lady. She lives here in Fayetteville now. I won't say her name or anything, but she's originally from California.
Mm-hmm.
She'll go home to see family and stuff like that, and she'll send say things on Facebook like still this and that. But I talked to her and stuff, and I don't know if you could give her $1 billion to go back to California.
Yeah, it's just it's weird, man.
Not only the culture, because a lot of people we have a misconception about California because it's so far over there, and I got family there. Not anymore; they moved out, but most of the state's red. California has cowboys.
Yeah, it's true.
Ranchers.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the Sacramento, San Francisco, L.A. What else?
Yeah.
Those little cities
blobs
with all the Democrat,
have all the people in one
right.
space.
So
exactly. That's the importance of electoral votes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean when it comes all down to it. But
yeah, could you imagine if we didn't have it makes sense to get rid of the electoral college and go, but L.A., New York, and Chicago would decide.
Popular vote would be decided between 4 places.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it really would be. It'd be ignorant to.
They
go.
That's a lot of people don't realize this too when it comes back. And this is a sore subject, but slavery. Like you hear people say, well, the U.S. considered them 3/5 human. Well, I listen, man. Y'all listen to Dan Carlin ever? Hardcore History.
Yeah.
That podcast will blow your freaking mind. Doesn't matter what what side of history you stand on. He will cover everything, and he'll cover shit you never even thought about, just from the human aspect. But anyways,
I just side on it being history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's and one thing I'm gonna put this out there because I'm an avid. I'm a super. I like to protect history and just observe it. We cannot look back at the past with what we know today about each other.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That's
Only
very
an idiot
stupid, and
does
that's-
that. You
yeah.
have to put things into context. There's no defending that, but you would say that. I always tell people, what would you do if you were alive back then?
Same thing you're doing now.
Are you going to be? Are you going to be the abolitionist John Brown? Or are you just going to go about your business so you don't get killed by the local Klan guys or the?
Exactly, and that's the way I
You
tell
ain't gonna
people.
do shit.
I tell people all the time, because you were born in the South or whatever that misconstrued may be.
Yeah.
But just as people now that really just don't give a shit either one way or the other, they conform. It's no different than what they were doing then.
Yeah.
It was, okay, I'm supposed to go along
You're
with this.
conforming now. You put them. I'm not saying you because I didn't, but people by the millions put masks on their face even though they didn't agree with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They did it
It's
anyway.
the exact same damn thing. It's just a different time
It's a
period.
different time period.
They're gonna look at us 100 years from now and call us fascists and racists and
Look at them
It's
idiots
so
or whatever.
dumb.
Yeah.
Now,
It
the
is
only
whatever,
thing, when it comes to the slavery issue, I can say some things about slavery that most people agree with, and then I can say another thing about it, and those same people that were agreeing with me, they don't agree with me, because the American slave experience was a lot different than was different than it was prior to the
Right.
American experience. It was a lot different
crazy.
when the banks got involved and
God.
it became a big money thing. It changed everything. But when it comes to the reparations, I'm all for it. If you can prove that your lineage, let's say that my great-great-grandfather worked for a company in Maryland and was a slave, and that company, through acquisitions and everything else, became S.E. Johnson Wax. What they are today, because it was Johnson and Johnson, and now it became all these companies. They fold and they if I can prove that my great-great-grandfather worked on your great-great-grandfather's steel mill or whatever it was that they were enslaving people, and now that became, and you got all these shares, and now you're a trust fund baby at $100 million when you turn 18. If I can prove that, I'm entitled to compensation for that. I agree with that part of it.
Yeah, there's nothing
But
wrong
just
with that.
giving it to me because maybe I'm Irish. Well, I thought I was Irish. I'm not. But if I was,
or
you
maybe
were,
there's a chance or something.
there's a chance that just because you belong, that to me, that's.
All the viewers gone now.
No, we still got viewers. Yeah.
Really?
Why,
Well, I was
you think that people are scared of this? This is what most of the money in entertainment is being made from
but-
agitation.
But
There's also a lot of people out there that
not
just
enough.
don't want to.
they really do not want to wet their feet on one side or the other.
I know,
they
but
want to stay
that's-
completely
I
neutral.
don't even
walk
think that's
straight
a
line
niche
away from
market
it.
today.
Another thing, I agree with that because they might be tuning into this to get relief from the chaos of being out there. This is their
Yeah.
only.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just better just
Yeah,
to
but-
be able to sit back and listen to something.
Sometimes it
that's
just it-
not about the world.
we sat down today. This is what I was trying to say in text. It doesn't come out in text. We sat down today and started talking about hunting, and it leads into you cannot. I will never walk a fine line. I will never.
I won't either.
I will never say we can stay on this, but I'm not going to. I'll touch everything, and I don't care if it
and
comes
that's
up.
what we just said. I will
Yeah.
never conform to what
Never.
society
Yeah.
thinks is the norm. It's just not who
Unless
I
I'm
am.
trying to get laid, then I'll conform.
Like
and
a
I'll
buck.
say-
You're like
and
the
I'll-
buck, man.
I'll say whatever I need to say. I got it. My representative game is strong.
The only time I do what I've got to do is when I deer hunt. and honestly, or fish or something like that. And it's, the reason being is because that's the only route in order to achieve what you're trying to, for your end goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I
So-
think you're too militant about it. I don't think you have to. I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything like that. I think that I'm not ever going to be as disciplined and as regimented with hunting as you are. I don't think you need to be. But maybe that's why you.
I'm not very
Maybe that's why you
regimented.
miss bigger deer than I kill.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not very regimented in it per se because I do a lot of off the wall stuff that I just keep to myself, and if it
Yeah.
works, I'm like, "Phew, all right, now I have a little keepsake.
I'm not good at keeping things to myself.
I am.
You notice that?
No, that's.
All right,
I really.
when it
I
come-
thought about this, man.
When it
I
comes
think,
to hunting and fishing, dude,
I
there's
think-
shit I won't tell my brother.
I
Really?
think that our society needs to do a little bit. I think that's one of the reasons why things are kind of out of control because like nobody. There's things you should keep to yourself.
I 100%. agree.
Probably. Most
Yeah.
of the trouble I've ever gotten into in my life was because of my mouth. Either I didn't say enough or I said too much. So, I mean,
Yeah. So,
I've always admired that that guy in the bar. I don't know if you've been in you've worked in a bar. So if you're ever in a situation
Where he
with a
comes in to
guy,
rob the place.
no, when you're arguing, when two guys are talking shit to each other, the one who's the loudest is probably going to get his ass kicked. The guy
Yeah,
that
that's-
just
I mean,
kind
that's common
of
sense.
the guy that doesn't even get riled up and he looks at the guy talking shit to him and he doesn't even smirk because that's sarcastic. He just looks like I don't even hear a word you're saying.
Yeah.
That's the fucking guy. Sorry, that's the guy you need to be worried about.
Yeah.
That guy is like probably scared that he's going to kill you. Not that he's scared that you're going to hurt him. Like he's already worked it
Yeah.
out.
He's worried about what's going to happen.
He's
to him
worried about
later
what's going to
in
happen
time.
if he can't talk you out of not swinging on
that's.
him.
I told Buddy this
That's
story. I
that's
think.
that's a guy I wish, and that's the guy that keeps his mouth shut. He's normally listens to both sides. He has the opinions in his head, but he don't say it because why?
Yeah.
And that's how, and to a certain extent, that's how I am. I very rarely ever express my opinion on anything like political. I express my opinion on like hunting and fishing and just
Yeah.
normalcy stuff, but like
Yeah.
political things and different stuff like that. And it's not that I don't have my own opinion. I'm just being completely honest. I don't give a
Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But
I
here's
really don't.
Here's
I
here's
just-
here's
I don't
another little
care,
insight
man.
into the way my brain thinks. If you guys are talking about something that I agree with and I'm in the mood, I'll just disagree with it.
Buddy, yeah, Buddy's something else, man. Like,
Sometimes
You know how many times
Oh my God,
I
dude.
have gotten guys so fucking mad they wouldn't even sit at the chow table with me because this is when I worked in the oil industry, and most of those guys are good old boys from Alabama or Louisiana. They come
Yeah.
around the Gulf Coast and they're all Fox News guys. And I would
the
be
people you really don't want to piss off.
yeah, but no, but they weren't. I wasn't worried about getting thrown off the boat or anything. But I would make these comments like, "Man, yeah, when I was home last time, I got my my EBT card. I just told them I didn't have a job. And I said, look at all this cheese that I bought, and I have a picture of me holding like $500 worth of expensive cheese,
What
and
is
I'm like,
wrong with him, dude?
I'm
He's-
like,
he's a
dude,
troll, dude.
I'm like, you should do it.
He is a troll.
And these dudes were like, they didn't know what they're Southern boys, so they didn't want to be like, fuck you, you know. They were like, well, you know, they were trying to be nice about it. And then I knew I had them, man. I just kept going. I was like, and I would come back from my trip, and I would bring them like Limburger cheese, and I'd be like, here, man, Uncle Sam, courtesy of the American people. They would get so mad, and then
That's hilarious. That is taking trolling. To
Oh,
a whole
he
new
does,
level.
man. Like Buddy and I'm starting to figure him out. We've been friends
He
now for.
says shit on Facebook
Yeah.
sometimes.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like, there he goes.
Yep, that's what you gotta say. There he goes.
There he
He
goes.
catches me because I'll be getting all
Yeah.
riled up. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I've deleted a lot of stuff
Yeah.
I've texted him before.
Yeah.
Like he'd say something, I'm like, you stupid. Nah, there he goes. And I just
Sometimes I mean it though. The whole Earth thing, I believe that. I don't believe it's flat. I don't know, and you don't know. So that stuff that I post on that, I'm trying to wake you up.
I know you wholeheartedly believe we didn't go to the moon. That video was very, very convincing because
The whole video!
Hey, hold on.
Oh.
I did not even like nothing registered the whole time watching until he said, "Who the fuck filmed that?" You know what I mean? I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Not only, hey,
hold on, he wasn't the first guy because the cameraman's filming it.
Yeah, exactly,
And
but-
then whatchamacallit was like, no, you saw an animation of us on the moon, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
And I'm like,
he admitted it. You know,
Yeah.
hey, you know what the latest thing is, and you can believe it or not because it's easy to dispel anything, like my dad does to me. Like, well, anybody can say. But who's Stanley Kubrick admitted it? Kubrick set the whole stage up. The whole stage that you watched. Oh, one small step for man. He set that whole stage up, and he admitted it.
That's a very
Why
powerful thing to do.
does Stanley Kubrick? He's got enough money. He's famous enough. Why does he have to lie and say that he did it if he didn't do it? And how would he know? So he must be a madman that he went and he thought of all the before I tell this lie. He's Stanley Kubrick. He could just say I did it. People would believe him. Why would he go through the whole thing of fabricating the setup and where the location and where they got the sand from, the dirt from? It was faked, bro. And if you still believe it, you're holding on to something that you've been hurt.
Well, maybe that's our only hope.
You've been hurt.
you've been hurt. You
Someone-
just need some hope.
you need a hug.
Maybe that's our only hope,
Like if
man.
you're still holding on to the fact that we landed on the moon after watching what they showed us, even as a kid, I was like, "Oh, that looks kind of like it. Don't look like
Kind of sketchy.
it looks like." Then I got old enough, and then they started talking about it, and other people was like, "Yeah, I've always thought the same thing with like religion." When I grew up in a cult, I grew up a Catholic.
I was about to say, were you Catholic?
Yeah, I was
He
Catholic.
said cult. I
Yeah.
said Catholic.
You know, and my first confession, I'm gonna tell you right now, I lied to that motherfucker. I didn't tell him. I didn't confess my sins. I got away with it. Why am I gonna confess?
Did you go to St. Pat's
Yes.
Church on Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah, you
Father
did.
Kevin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
No, I never got touched though, which kind of pissed me off because
You're like,
I was a
Have you
cute
been involved?
kid. You saw
Oh,
a picture
you
of me when
were.
I was
You
a
were-
kid.
you were ugly as
Nah,
hell as a
don't
kid.
tell me that. Don't tell me
you
that.
did, man. You were actually
Gave me a
you're kind
complex.
of an ugly kid. You look like what's that old movie where he's the dark skinned black haired guy? He's a fever pitch or whatever it is. He's from the Bronx in New York or whatever.
Fever pitch.
Not fever pitch.
That's
but
Jimmy Fallon.
The pitcher or
The little kid pitcher for the Cubs.
Yeah, his arm
And,
breaks.
yeah, and his arm. He's like,
Yeah.
"Phew!"
Yeah,
That kid
that's-
was, hey,
yeah,
that
that's
kid
what-
was good looking. That's why he got on TV.
Yeah,
I think I know. I
What
I
the
have
hell?
Buddy figured out.
The greatest arm or something like that.
Nah, I can't remember. It was a good movie though. I
It
liked
was,
it.
yeah. I go back and watch stuff like that.
The
every
Dirt
now
Bike
and again.
Kid, you ever watch that?
I feel like lately, like I don't know, man. I feel lately like I watch stuff like older stuff now, and from
You're
the
like
past.
you're like your dad.
Because
they don't
it's-
make movies like John Wayne anymore.
It's starting to get to the point where you almost feel like you're like, all right, man, I'm 40, about to be 40. So if you live to 80,
How old are you?
you're really.
40?
I'm 40. I'll be 40 in
I'll
December.
be 46 next
So
year.
if you think about it, man, you're
Yeah.
really hit your midlife.
Yeah, this is scary, man.
So-
We're closer to 50 than we are 20, and that's
Well, that's why do you
terrifying.
think that my
Dude, I graduated.
Why do you think that
freaking college-
everything-
or high school 22 years
Yeah.
ago? That's freaking,
Wow.
that worries me.
and what are you doing to prolong that though?
As far as life,
Diet, exercise,
dude, I've got a diet, and
calculating your
I've got
body
an
fat.
exercise
And,
program that'll keep you going forever.
But then the work? No. Working outside does not.
I keep my heart rate up. I can.
But
assure
it
you
doesn't.
that.
I'm gonna tell you, working outside. There's a lot of guys that do like construction,
Those
landscape.
farmers live to be 100-year-old, man.
But those
active.
old farmers didn't drink Mountain Dew and didn't eat McDonald's and
they-
biscuits from Hardee's
I don't
when it's
drink Mountain Dew.
processed.
I haven't had a Mountain Dew in.
Well, I'm not
Think of
saying
this, though,
you.
man. Think of this. This
I'm just, a lot of
scripture,
people
like-
think because I work outside, I'm getting a lot of exercise.
No, you're not.
Your body
You're getting a lot of
adjusts to
vitamin
that.
D.
I
mean,
don't
yeah.
know what to believe anymore because I'm going to tell you some cold hard facts from my life that have formed my view on this. The farmers that live, they're dying. I'm sure you know farmers. I know my teacher, my doctor when I was in school. Her dad was like 90 something when he passed, and he was a farmer in the 40s and 50s when they didn't have chemical regulations.
Yeah.
And they used all those pesticides. And he used to
Whatever
joke,
the
I'm
hell you
pickled.
wanted.
My great uncle lived an organic life. He became an organic dude like in the 50s, way before it was cool, and he died of blood cancer. You know, my grandma, same thing. Like, I don't.
Come over and talk to my grandmother. She's 97 years
Yeah.
old. She hears better than I do. She walks around. She's very coherent. She's still witty.
Yeah.
She doesn't follow any diet. She eats whatever the hell she wants. Everything she's probably eaten in the last 30 years is processed. I'm still gonna.
You know what I think
I'm
the
still
biggest-
gonna go the healthy route.
You know what I think the biggest factor
So,
is?
and that's the crazy thing is
Yeah.
that's your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my way
It's
of
just-
looking at it, I'm not going to do anything to expedite me dying because my dad died when I was young and I want to see my kids
What'd he
grow
die
up.
of?
He had a massive heart attack when he was 44.
Oh, God,
Wow.
that's
Died in
scary,
his
man.
sleep. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, at least it went in his sleep, man.
But
Yeah.
still, that's 'cause
44. I
that's-
had a friend of mine that's he's got to be 44 or 43, and he had the Widowmaker
That's what my
heart
dad
attack.
had.
He had it when he's in the army. He had it when he was over in Afghanistan or Iraq, and he survived that one. And then he just had another one, but it was a small one. He was like, "Oh, they just went in and was like, changed my oil, gave me a new stent. I'm good to go." I'm like,
I got me a
"Dude, don't
valve."
scare the
God,
shit
man.
out of me,
Yeah.
bro."
It would
was
me
your dad
as
a healthy
well.
dude too? I mean, was he?
No.
Okay.
But at the same time, all he had to do was take a little pill.
Yeah.
But he was just hard headed.
Yeah.
So that's why when like I had a little stint there for a while, man, I was just like, dude, I don't want to do nothing. I'm tired all the time. Blah blah blah. I just had no energy.
Yeah.
Buddy and I just
Finally, my wife was like, "Go see a fucking doctor." I'm like,
We
"Oh
just
yeah,
talked about
they do
this.
exist." And
Sometimes they're okay.
yeah, basically all it was like Hashimoto's, which is just an autoimmune with your thyroid. Put me on a pill.
Dude,
3
you
months
need to
later, I'm ready
go-
rock and roll. You know.
They got this. I need to do it. I've been wanting to do it. I can't find anybody to do it, but they do your blood work. Everybody's different. All right. Everybody down to your genetics about where you're like maybe where your family's from, and they put you basically on a diet based on your DNA.
ancestral diet.
Ancestral.
They proved that,
Yeah.
And
Hawaiian-
they proved
yeah.
it.
I'm not gonna
Like
do
it'll
that,
tell
man.
you what you're like. Inflammation and mucus is what kills everybody. When you have AIDS, you die because you get pneumonia and you drown in your mucus. When you get cancer, it's usually your inflammation and mucus that kills you. So keeping your glucose levels down and keeping your body alkaline are just important, and those are easy things to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's in all of my faults. My diet's pretty clean. Like I'm strictly on meat and fruit, and my exercise is pretty much surfing. I go to the gym every now and then, but I just started getting into glucose. But alkalinity is very important. A disease can't exist. Cancer can't exist in an
in a
alkaline
high
state.
acidic, yeah.
And
I drink a lot of body armor that they make
it's terrible.
like a 9.5.
You should
alkaline.
never touch that stuff again. It's
I just
terrible.
like drinking it.
But then you smoke cigarettes.
Sometimes.
And
But I don't
cigars.
believe cigarettes. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm the guy that will say that there is no fucking proof. There's no direct link to lung cancer from smoking. It's like gravity. It's a theory. It makes sense. People get lung cancer all the time that never smoked.
That's
Yeah,
true,
but I
though.
also when I quit smoking, I felt
felt amazing.
I felt like, oh no.
Yeah.
I look,
It's restricting your blood.
I don't
oxygen.
like
Yeah.
smoking because it restricts the oxygens that gets to your cells. I don't like it. I hate smoking. I smoke. I go in periods with it. Sometimes I like it, but I don't smoke now. But I like tobacco. I don't think I dip if I'm not smoking. I smoke cigars, but sometimes I
just
fall
like the
back
way
into
they
cigarettes.
smell.
Riddle me this, Batman. How come I smoked in the Army a pack of Newports a day, menthols, which,
God, I love
and I
Newport.
ran 2 miles
So
in
good.
freaking 12 minutes or less.
I could smoke
When I
it.
stopped smoking is when I sucked, and before I smoked cigarettes.
know.
Like, so, oh wait, you said you love
I
menthols?
I
smoke.
can smoke a Newport right now that long.
Sorry.
I'm gonna tell you, I smoked Newports, of course, as a kid, and when the first time I went to Fort Knox in '96 for basic training, you can't smoke, obviously. I mean, we snuck cigarettes, but first thing I did when we graduated, I went to the PX and I bought a carton of fucking Newports.
Yeah.
And I lit it up, and I was like, this thing tastes like shit. I didn't like menthol, so I traded that carton of cigarettes to a guy who's I don't know, somebody he ended up with a Marlboro Reds. So it was like 6 packs of Marlboro Reds. I gave him a whole carton of Newports, and I smoked non-menthols to the point now where I can't stand them. If Martin smokes menthols, and
I love menthols, man.
And if I'm not smoking, but after surfing, when I'm really tired and your endorphins are
I
up,
like smoking cigarettes.
I want a cigarette.
See, I do too, and that's my
Yeah.
thing, man. I wished I could, like, everything I do, like you were saying earlier, like like how I'm regimented with hunting and stuff like that. I'm not regimented with it. I'm just obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And I have that really just aggressive personality with anything that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I'll go.
I'm the same
I'll
way.
go stupid with
Yeah.
it.
But I'm more like gadgets. I got every hunting gadget.
See, I don't. I have a bow. I have a bow, a bunch of trail cameras, and me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I hunt to a certain extent. And I try to get into the gadgets and different things like that, but I can't. But I would love to be able to go home, pour a friggin' drink, smoke a cigarette, and then not pick one up for 6 months. But I know what happens.
Yeah.
I smoke one, and then I'm like, well, fuck, I'll just have one tomorrow.
One, yeah.
And then I'll have one tomorrow. And then I'll have two.
Every time I start smoking after stopping, I smoke more
I would too.
than I did when I stopped.
Yeah.
Like when I was an avid
yeah.
smoker, I would smoke
Yeah.
like one pack would last me like a day and a half. So I would say I was a pack a day guy. The last time that I started smoking, I was smoking about a pack and a half to 2 packs a day. But
See, I've never smoked that much.
But I don't smoke the whole thing.
pack.
I literally
Yeah,
light
pack
the
a day.
cigarette, and I'm like, because I think I want it, and I get like 4 drags into it, and I throw it out.
I would get to the point where it became a habit more than it
Yeah,
than it was.
It was
like
something
a
to do.
need.
Did you
And
smoke in your tree stand when you hunted?
Yeah.
When you smoked? Yeah. That's
don't-
what
I don't
old
think deer's
Bishop
scared
loves
of
to
that.
post. I
Yeah.
love Greg when he posts this.
People are
I
like,
don't think,
oh,
yeah, it's
deer
burning.
don't know what
Yeah, they don't-
cigarettes
they
are.
don't-
But the reason, okay, I did, but I didn't. When I was younger, I did. That's a lot of people don't realize. When I smoked, when I was really fucking young.
Yeah, that's one of my first cigarettes. I was 11 years old. Stole a Marlboro.
And
like
you
my
don't smoke
sister, but-
pot? Have you ever?
Yeah, man, and
oh.
I don't have nothing against it.
Oh,
It doesn't
okay.
bother me whatsoever. It's just I get super.
You ever
paranoid.
hunted?
You super.
You ever smoked?
Paranoid.
Yeah.
You ever
That's
smoke
that's
weed
a turn
and
off for a lot of
hunt?
people.
I don't know.
It's the best.
I don't know if I have. No, I'd be
It's
too
the
in
fucking
tune. I wouldn't
best.
do shit. I'd
It's
hear
the
crickets rubbing their
you
feet.
be. Let
Yeah,
me tell
you're
you
paying
something
attention to
right
stuff
now.
you wouldn't even pay attention
Yeah.
to.
You
Yeah.
become like you're like Tom Berenger like for 4 hours. Like, you're like you're shooting things out of moving platforms and like you can fucking shoot a damn skeeter from
My
100
wife would
yards.
text me. She's like, "Where you at? You coming home?" It'd be at 11 o'clock. I'm like,
There's still one down there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait him out.
yeah, I'm just gonna wait them out, baby. I signed in. I'm good. I'll be
Yeah,
all right.
you hear that.
But
Yeah.
no, and I don't care about it. It doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Some people are like, "Oh, that's irresponsible." I'm like, man, I think
Man, that's both.
Yeah.
You're your own person.
Yeah.
You're the way I look at it. You do whatever the hell you want, as long as you're not affecting me or my kids.
right.
Like,
Well, if you're smoking marijuana and you're hunting, you have a firearm, and I'm walking through the woods, you're putting me at risk. But I'm gonna tell you right now, when you're high.
you have a
Damn
better
right.
chance of not getting
Damn
shot.
right. You're whatever you're aiming at is getting shot dead because you're dialed in on that. You
gotta-
can't think of it. You hear the heartbeat.
Something you got to remember too, and I thought about this. People who were before our generation it was beaten into their heads that drug was the evilest, or drug.
Yeah,
Weed was
marijuana,
the
yeah.
most evil thing, and if you touched it, you were just a horrible person. And they were fed that, so you can't blame them because we are different from the generation below us. Things that to them are normal, we look at with a certain level of disgust as well.
You know who I hate?
So-
I hate the people that insist on everybody following the rules just because they're rules.
Oh yeah, that's true too. And like, okay, for example, weed's the easiest to use. Name something else, whether it's a legal narcotic, prescribed narcotic, or an illegal, that grows in the ground, with the exception of tobacco.
Yeah.
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms. But but then
That's
you got to know
yeah.
what kind of mushroom it is.
Yeah.
Because there's a
Yeah.
mushroom. The thing about mushrooms is you have mushroom A and mushroom B. They might be the same damn mushroom. This one will kill you. This one won't.
You know how many people are out there hunting right now probably talking about this motherfucker talking about smoking weed and hunting. Man,
Oh, God.
go look. I want
How-
to see what you take every morning. What kind of Xanax?
Exactly.
What kind
How
of
many
fucking
people are
serotonin
addicted?
inhibitor? And they're like, oh, my doctor gives me this. Hey, look, just because your doctor prescribes you opioids and
getting paid to
Xanax,
do it.
That's
that
heroin,
don't-
man.
that
It's
don't-
heroin that you swallow.
That don't make you not a fucking junkie. Let me just tell you that right
You
now.
know, a lot of the reasons I don't like, everybody's like, oh, you're just stubborn, hard headed, blah blah blah. A lot of reason that I do not like going to the doctor is because to a doctor, to me, they are still. It's called a practice for a reason.
It's called an industry. Yeah.
And
Bullshit.
it's an industry of friggin' big farm.
Yes.
And the fix to everything is take this pill.
Yes.
Take this pill.
There's a pill to fall asleep,
Take
pill to
this
stay
pill.
awake,
But,
pill to
like it was.
We
it
had a
was-
conversation similar to this today where I used that analogy. Like sometimes there's just not a pill.
No, there's not. Sometimes it's just get your shit right.
Get your shit right.
or
Yeah.
get out in the woods.
Yeah, or
That's
or
my
that,
pill.
man. And that
Yeah.
and I tried like
Seriously.
like when we talked last time, we were talking about excessive hunting.
Yeah.
like it's like a
it's real.
It's a disease.
What
man.
we call it, depression. That's real. That's a real thing.
Absolutely.
To the point where we were speaking last time, and I said because we got on the subject about your ex-wife and who you're with Jody now,
Yeah.
and you had the conversation. My wife and I did the same thing, but to the point where I catch myself doing it, and the reason being is because that is like it's the only time you can forget stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of time that goes by. You're like, man, I ain't got to friggin' worry about this.
Yeah.
But I get obsessive about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what worries me about going to a doctor. It took me the longest time to take a levothyroxine
I don't
pill
know what that is, but I wouldn't take
it's
it.
It's for thyroids.
I'm guarantee you.
Hypothyroidism.
Tell me what it is, and tomorrow I'm going to send you a whole holistic way to do it.
And
you should try it.
And you'd be my wife with shorter hair. That's what she's like. I'm gonna put you on this diet. And you're gonna eat oatmeal, and you're gonna. I'm like, oh my
listen,
gosh.
man.
It's easier for me because being busy just to take the pill.
The next time you go to the doctor, watch what they do. They go on fucking their version of Google. And they're like, well, we're gonna try. Get the fuck out of here. And I hate people that are like, well, is you a doctor? Like, motherfucker, I can read. What do you think?
That's
You think somebody anoints a doctor and gives them some type of special knowledge that no one else can obtain the knowledge?
Okay, my grandfather was,
especially a general practitioner.
My grandfather was a doctor, among a dentist. He had he was on the team for DuPont that invented Butasite, which is when your
probably
windshield
killed a bunch of people.
When he probably did in World War II.
No, I mean like that chemical.
No, Butasite is what when your windshield shatters, it doesn't let the glass go all over you.
Oh.
Saved a bunch of lives.
Yeah, he saved a lot of lives. Yeah. So I'll say the ones that I know for a fact he had, but I'm sure there was more. So he had a degree in engineering, some type of chemical degree, not sure exactly what it was. Then he had his DDS for his dental stuff, and then he was a periodontist, so he was a gum surgeon. When he retired, he decided he was bored and wanted to go back to school, so he went and became an MD, got his PhD, and he had a master in genetics and a few other things, all from UNC Chapel Hill, Duke, NC State, shit like that. And he told me something that always stuck in my head when I go see a doctor. He said, when you go to professional school, whether it's an attorney or a doctor or whatever it may be, if you graduate with an A or if you graduate with a C,
you still graduate. You're a doctor, yeah.
So who's to say one's better than the other?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure there are some that are a little bit better than the next guy, but
you're talking about your grandfather. So when he went through those schools back then, you had to, if you wanted to obtain that knowledge, you had to go to school.
You had to go to school. You don't any longer.
They protected it, but now you have the fucking internet, and you can find everything on there. So you can become whatever you want for free.
Exactly. What did we just talk about one of the last few podcasts? We were talking about how that industry is so saturated.
Yeah.
And trades.
Well, I mean,
you don't even have to go to law school, right? You can just take the bar. You don't have to go to school to be a stockbroker, which is where all the money's at. That's why they don't teach it in high schools. But you just have to pass the Series 8 or Series 9, whatever it's called.
I don't know.
But you can study online for everything.
Yeah.
You really can. I mean,
you don't. Elon Musk said it. Even Elon Musk, and who's this other guy? You know who Gary Vaynerchuk is by chance?
Is
Gary
he getting rid of Twitter?
Elon Musk, I heard about that.
He said something about a little bird disappearing or whatever the hell.
I don't know.
And then also I watched Russell Brand and Tucker Carlson.
Oh, Russell Brand, I swear, is like a goddamn prophet. If you believe in prophets,
There's certain things he says, and the way he goes about certain ways.
The way he presents everything
it makes it simple.
Very,
yes.
but almost like he has explained things that I already know. I know what he's talking about before he finishes it. But he's Russell Brand, and he speaks so sexy with that accent, and he's funny. By the time he's done with it, it like blows my mind. Even though I already know what the hell he was saying, he just presents it in a new light. And he's right.
But
that's the ultimate thing. He's right.
He said that Tucker Carlson has his own show now.
Yeah, on the internet though. I don't.
Yeah, is it? But is it through and sponsored by Twitter?
I think that he was working on that. I don't know.
Because him and Elon Musk, they did a podcast together.
Yeah.
On that whole thing.
And Tucker just had He just had who do you have? He had RFK, who's scorching the earth right now. They won't even they won't even give him Secret Service.
Wow.
They want him gone.
Yeah.
You watch that one that I posted today about Smithfield. Watch that thing what he said about Smithfield.
Oh, the plant?
The plant on
Yeah.
how you just got to watch it because that's a whole fucking. He had Ice Cube. Ice Cube's getting.
He's scorching
He's
Hollywood.
scorching Hollywood.
Like big time.
I can't believe
this whole Jamie Foxx conspiracy though. I don't understand how to. I don't
know. I heard about it, but I
yeah,
haven't
I can't
listened. I
follow
think it has something to do with probably sex. He was probably duped into.
Well, it was. I think it's something to do with him falling into that same kind of.
I don't know. I will look at it tonight.
Yeah, and he was wanting out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, I think, we've talked about this, once you reach that level, you're invited into a certain place where things are kept from the general public and you have the power to,
It sounds spooky, but
really
it's true.
make shit happen. That,
And you want out of him one day, and they're
And
like,
it makes
"Nah."
sense
It
because
does
think
make a lot
about
of
it. If
sense.
if us three sitting here right now, we live in this town and we're the three richest people in this town and
Why
we
the
got
fuck would
everything
you want
on
anyone
lock,
else to get in
and
your
then
shit?
somebody else starts making money, he's gonna
Who's that
gonna
guy?
garnish some power and he
Family
might
just-
pull away from ours, so we want to get him in. And be like, hey man, this is how we do things. If you really want to, you're doing good. You've made $1 million. You come with us.
Keep
we're
it
gonna
to
make
yourself,
you.
though.
We're gonna keep you. We're gonna make you $100 million. But they can't know this stuff. It
And
makes
Fayetteville
sense.
was like that as a kid. When I was growing up, like there's a. Yeah, we,
See, I'm from
yeah, don't get a hit out on you.
I'm a-
boys.
I'm a-
yeah,
hey,
we'd have
I'm-
to talk about
I'm
that.
from a-
Yeah, we are live.
Even though we're from Fayetteville, we're from two different Fayettevilles. Whereas I'm here because of the military. That's it. You're here because your family was here prior. How long was your family here before?
Campbelltown days.
Like I would say, I'm a first generation born Fayettevillian in my family because my.
Oh no!
You see what I'm saying?
My grandparents
Yeah.
were here. My dad was born and raised here.
You guys
My
are
mom
different. You guys kind of went to like the Douglas Byrd, Hope Millie, Rayford area.
Yeah, my
y'all know each other.
my parents all graduated here in town. Hell, my mom went to Methodist.
Okay.
For college.
Well, my mom graduated
dad
from
went into-
71st,
my dad
but she
went
was an
into the
Army brat.
My dad graduated from 71st. All my family did.
You know
really.
what year? By chance?
No, I
No.
could-
Because my uncles went to 71st.
from the 60s, late
Yeah.
60s, on up because
Yeah.
on my dad's side there's my dad, Sherry, Randy, Robert, Ken, Dean, and Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
They're all Holloways. Yeah.
there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So,
My family was
there's-
Killingsworth. My uncle was a judge downtown for like a magistrate. He was the chief magistrate.
Okay.
But I don't carry his last name, but all my cousins, man, they never got speeding tickets. They were on the white privilege side. My uncle was
See, we didn't
Mom was the
either,
principal
man.
at Terry Sanford. He was the principal there, the vice principal. He was a coach.
Yeah.
And so
And we didn't-
down on there. So they broke the law with impunity because their last name was Killingsworth, and
my
everybody
brother,
knew my uncle.
my brother and I, and my buddy Jason, and just a few around town friends. Dude, if we're in Cumberland County, we
Yeah.
didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
That exactly.
I knew people like that too.
If that
what I
exists
mean?
in a
And it-
small little county in North Carolina, which actually has a lot of power
Oh,
in
yeah.
the state.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of money in Fayetteville.
Oh,
North Carolina, and power.
Those are the kids that like literally get a girl drunk and rape her, and then the next on the news when she makes charges, she's the fucking bad guy.
Yeah,
They
no, we
turn
didn't
it.
we didn't do
They
any shit
turn. I'm
like
not saying
that.
you
yeah,
did,
yeah.
but I'm saying that's what
But
happens.
if that can happen in a small little area, imagine. Of course, it can happen globally.
It
Oh
is.
yeah, but
Yeah.
we would we'd get like stupid stuff
Yeah.
like speeding tickets
Yeah.
and just being kids.
See,
and
I got a
stuff
speeding
like that.
ticket. I had to pay for it.
And we'd call our a family attorney, and hell, all our orthodontal work was done for free from my
Yeah.
grandfather's college.
And I
room
ain't
mate,
hating
and-
on it. I mean, that's
you know
just
what
the
I mean?
way
It's
it
just
is.
that's how it
Yeah.
was then.
Yeah.
But we'd get a ticket in Bladen County. That's E-Town.
Who's got the most money in
And-
Fayetteville? What family name?
I would,
Oh, gosh.
me as a person not even knowing about this place, just from what I observe, I would say the Brits or the Mannings.
Oh, you're well off, probably.
All right, but
Yeah.
I don't have no idea.
That's what I see because everywhere you go, it's
And I
old,
grew up
man.
there.
old,
Old Fayetteville,
like
old money.
old money
About Stewart's?
Fayetteville.
Millionaires, like
Yeah.
damn near. I don't know if there's any billionaires here.
I don't know if there is.
There's gotta be.
Do
No,
you know
not
how much?
millionaires,
Do you know how much? Have you ever contemplated how much $1 billion is?
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
I've
I try
never-
to figure out every day. How
I
to
just
make
wanted to become a millionaire.
Yeah,
but-
I really do, man. Because I was always taught to shoot for the moon, land on the stars, rather
Yeah.
than the stars and land on the street.
How
lights.
many?
Yep.
You know,
If you
that's
made a
my
dollar,
mentality.
It's a good mentality.
what is
Yeah,
it? If you made $1 every minute starting now,
360 years, you'd be a billionaire.
36,
Jesus.
36 years. $1 a minute for 36.
360.
I think that's a trillion.
Let's see.
That's a
Ready, Google?
trillion.
Yeah, it's like 12. It's like 1 year you make $1 million. It's weird. It's like a year and a half. You're a millionaire if you make $1 every minute for a year and a half.
It's like that,
you're a
girl.
millionaire. But
It's-
$1 billion is like 37 years. I'm like, what the fuck? That's a lot of dollars, bro.
That is a lot, man.
And maybe every second. I think it's every minute, dude.
But you figure, like, you ever seen that girl? She's like, if you save $1 every day, and
You'll have 360,000.
365. He's like, yeah,
$1 every day is $365. Yeah.
Yeah,
but you know
but,
what? You know what the fucked up part is? The majority of the people that are listening to her dumbass, they probably thinking, oh yeah.
yeah, they're right.
Yeah.
Damn it, we're gonna start saving, Bill.
So if you had $1 every second, it would take you 33 years to become
Yeah,
a billionaire.
every
That's
second. I said minute.
$1
Yeah,
every
yeah, yeah.
second.
Yeah, so a minute is 360 then, correct?
No? Yeah, oh yeah, maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe,
Somewhere in that-
maybe.
anyhow.
Yeah, my bad.
But
I
as far as
misspoke.
who's got most money in Fayetteville,
Do we even know?
old money, I would put it against between the Fayetteville Riddles and the Allisons.
I would have thought Wellens would be in there.
See, I don't know any of this shit.
No.
So I'm just a dirty
well,
transplant.
You know,
maybe, but I consider them Harnett. Like
yeah, I guess.
the
But they
Welland-
own a lot of the.
they own
North
a lot of
Fayetteville.
everything.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of money
Dude,
in Fayetteville.
look, my truck broke down one time somewhere up North 95,
Kinlaws.
like Wade.
No, not even
No,
close.
Damn, see?
And this dude, he gave me a ride. 'Cause my truck broke down. I had to make a phone call. The payphone went where something happened. He gave me a ride, and he was unloading. He was loading like I just think like bags of rice, but it's probably hog feed or something. It was a little country gas station. Piece of shit truck. Overalls. Looked like a farmer. So I helped this guy. All right, I help him. He gives me a ride down, make a phone call, call my dad, come
How
help me
more
out.
money you ever fathom?
He was the fucking oldest. He was Mr. Wellens.
Charlie?
I don't know who it is. The lady at the gas station said he's one of the richest men around here. You would never know it.
That's how
That's
I would be
what
if I was a millionaire.
I bought them.
That's how he became a millionaire.
See, that's in Harnett County. There's the Wombles, the Wellens, and the Warrens.
I never heard of the
And,
Wombles.
Oh yeah, go to Harnett.
I'm saying I've
County.
never, yeah.
But I was sitting there and I bought a mower one time and I grabbed my company checkbook and I was like, who do I make this out? And she's like, you're in Harnett County, baby. It don't matter. Just put a W on it. They'll cash it. I was like,
That's
so
funny.
when you start thinking about that,
Yeah.
man, there like Charlie Wellens and there's a lot of influential people in Fayetteville. And then when you put
Where their money come from? Land, farming,
a lot of it has, man. Especially the Riddles. The Riddles, like
I've heard, JP Riddle Senior.
J.P. Riddle
Yeah.
and my grandfather were very, very good friends.
I've done some work for some people. I won't mention what family they're from, but you could tell, like I knew right away that these are probably grandchildren or great grandchildren that have inherited properties and lands and stuff, and they don't work.
It's wealth.
They
It's
don't
not-
do shit.
They're not rich. That's
They sell it off
yeah.
when they need money. They're not invest. It's like that dynasty that got handed down to these people that I've met. It makes me sick because they're literally. You can just like you would never if you met them in the street, you would think that they were poor. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
But all they're doing is selling off and flipping
what
they've been left, and they're not reinvesting it. Now, not all of them. There's probably
there's some.
yeah, I'm
you
sure
know,
there is, but that's what happens to generational wealth is they piss it away.
It's eventually pissed away because at one point in time it's going to go to somebody that just don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but also too, if you look back to where all the money in Fayetteville comes from, it starts with a certain generation, like J.P. Riddle. And
Where's he from?
and I don't know where he's
What
from.
was his business? Tobacco?
Here, everything.
Oh,
Land.
just a gangster.
Yeah. Him and my grandfather are really tight. And that old school, my grandfather, I don't even know how old he'd be now. He's born in 23, December 18th of 1923.
Yeah.
So he'd be 100 years old.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like my grandma,
And,
it was the anniversary of her birthday, and she would have been 98 when she
Yeah.
passed.
And
in
that
2016.
generation, man, they were, number one, they were just hardcore people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they were just workers.
Mm-hmm.
They, you know,
Corruption was easier back then too.
life
though.
was different, but at the same time, they didn't have anything, so they wanted to
Yeah.
work up.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
now you have a generation that's like, Grandpa's gonna die.
Yeah,
shortly."
yeah.
And it's fucked
I
up
knew a
to
kid
say,
like that.
You know, and it's really messed up to say because that is one thing that a lot of people like. That's retirement plans for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my parents are gonna die, dude.
Yeah.
Quit being a scumbag.
Hey, I knew
and
a
do something
kid.
with yourself.
I knew a kid. If I said the last name, you probably might have heard the name, but I knew him, and he was a fuck up. And he didn't give a fuck because when his grandfather died, actually, when he turned 18, he was going to get access to the first part of his trust fund, however that works. But when his grandfather died, he was in line to get all this money. And I remember he was a fucking drug addict. And I was smoking weed with him one day. I said, dude, what the hell are you going to do? Like, you keep getting, like, he's a rich kid. He's just a fuck up. He wanted to hang out with us dirtbags, you know? But he was a fuck up. We were just like dirtbags. And I said, what are you going to do when you're fucking 18? And he was like, chill. That's it. That was his whole fucking. I bet you he's dead right now if I really looked
And he
into
very
it.
well could
Probably.
be, man.
That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
You know, in I can say this offhand. You know, I never. Generation wealth is something I don't even know what. You know,
I
just hang
don't-
out with me.
I
Like
don't know
Buddy gives
nothing
me a lot of
about it.
advice because you know we have very different backgrounds and like losing my dad. It you know, there's a little bit of insurance money that came with it, but it's like doesn't matter how much freaking money he could have been a millionaire. You know this as well. Like
If you don't
it's gonna
tie it up right, you ain't.
there
gonna
are
get
people
it.
out there. The retirement plan is grandma and
It's
grandpa
gone.
passing away, man. And you know what? That doesn't it's gonna hit them like a ton of fucking bricks one day.
Nah, most of those people it doesn't. They don't
But
care.
They're
man.
gonna
That's
have to
just
deal
that-
with something inside.
Man,
Eventually,
I-
man.
I-
I don't know.
My
I know-
dad will tell you straight out. I don't know if he's joking. Sometimes I hope he's joking,
Yeah.
but he's spending his kid's inheritance now.
And honestly,
His last check's gonna bounce.
honestly, like Steve Harvey said, I'm leaving my kids dead.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that,
Yeah.
in a way, dude, that's what
that's good for him.
it is because it teaches them responsibilities and the ways of the world. Because if you wake up tomorrow morning, your dad passed away and he left you $20 million as an 18-year-old kid. What life lessons you ever gonna learn other than in 15 years because you're a fucking moron?
I'll
You're
show you.
Here's dead broke.
Here's the crazy thing about my dad.
I'll
passed
show you
away
how
was-
to. I'll show you how to be happy. You just think
I
people that say
wouldn't
that
want
money
that,
don't
man.
buy. No, I'm joking. No.
I really would
Can't
have.
fill it
no-
out.
I
Every
want
home,
it.
man.
I do
I don't.
want it, but
I don't like anything that I don't work for.
Yeah.
Whether it
That's
be
true,
a
though.
fish, a whitetail, a financial gain, or a truck sitting in your
well, I don't have any choice.
it just
Now, I will tell you this: my family is not rich. My dad has been in positions where because he's since '85 he's worked for himself in the industry he's in. So there's times where he's making good money, but there's more times like I've actually been
Right,
evicted out of fucking houses before.
yeah.
Like landlord come in and be like, "You got to go," and we're like, "We're going to
Where?
St. Pat's." Like we don't. This ain't. We were just so. My dad, I wanted an allowance when I was a kid, like most kids. And he was like, well, I tell you what, why don't you just do what you're supposed to do? And if you need money, I get it to you.
lost viewers.
I don't.
No, we've also been
Yeah,
going
no.
for 2 hours and 36 minutes.
I don't agree with an allowance.
Yeah, well, I don't either. I don't give my son
You're
one.
getting paid to do what you should do.
Exactly.
Already.
That's you know that's the biggest thing, and I'm seeing with my kids. Like this generation is so squalled. I don't know if that's a word, but that's what I'm gonna say. They are so corrupted on doing what you're supposed to do. They think they need to be fucking rewarded for
everything.
for existing.
Yeah, my son's like, if I clean my room, kind of a nutty buddy.
No, you're going to clean your room
No,
because
you're
I
gonna
told
clean your
you
fucking
to.
room.
Just
If
gonna
I
clean
go
your
with
room
my-
so I
that's-
don't
see, my
whoop you,
wife-
boy.
My wife.
You know what I mean? Just go clean your daggone room.
You do get an allowance. That's my son. You do get an allowance.
you're
called-
living
when
here.
you turn
Living
that fucking
here.
light on and that bulb burns the
I get it.
filament, that
Yeah.
is your fucking allowance.
I get a kick out of every time I see that video where old dude gives his girlfriend or a wife or whatever it is, her Valentine's Day gift. He's like, "Oh, what's that one?" And then it's like light bills paid. He's like, "Oh, what's that one?" It's like rent's paid. He's like, "Hell yeah, girl, get the next one."
Hey, look, man, we got
Yeah, that's a
10:21, man.
but-
We got 2 hours
Is
and
it really?
37 minutes.
We went on
yeah.
this one, man, and I
Yeah.
think it was valid. I don't think we had too much. You know,
No,
but,
we were good.
it's Good shit. And
Nah,
I guess
next week it'll be about volcanoes and deer rutting.
yeah,
we'll have
Hell yeah.
we'll have a bigger smorgasbord of.
we kind of hit some mid-late season points on this, but thanks for tuning in, everybody. John, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah,
you're a part of this now, dude. So
Hell, I
I'm not.
enjoy
You're
it.
not even a guest,
Yeah.
bro. You're part of this. So
You need to figure out.
Jonathan, sorry.
This is what I'll say, Johnny boy. Everything you see in here, as junky as it might look, I paid for it. So if you want a microphone, go buy a fucking microphone. We have two microphones.
we got one right here. If you can
What-
figure out how to
We
split
need the
it,
damn
yeah.
cord.
We got to figure out how to split it. Now this
Yeah.
is an XLR.
We need to come off this. So
Huh?
they don't need to hear us talk about how this.
Oh, right. Yeah. But anyhow,
later.
thanks for tuning in to How Copy. It's good copy. We are out. Yeah.